What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fromville Hour here on the channel. And what a awesome night it is indeed. And of course, happy 4th of July to all of my American friends out there and all my non-American friends out there as well. Happy 4th of July, happy holidays to everybody. And I hope everybody is staying safe and having a good time. And tonight, we are going to talk some Fromville, some Fromville, as it were. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it as well. But hope everybody is staying safe out there. Happy 4th of July, and it is good to have all of you with us here tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing what shenanigans we are going to get up to.
Oh man, absolutely. And I went to a local burger place, and I guess because I don't know, because I'm very polite and well spoken, they, when they like load you down, they like shovel stuff into your bag, and I guess it must have been like the last onion rings. Or my God, I had so many friggin' onion rings. You want to talk about explosions and
yeah, it's good enough.
It's hey, shit happens, I guess. Shit happens.
Oh my God.
Well,
oh man, but how is everybody doing? We got the whole gang is back together. We got Snug and Aldous joining us tonight as well. So it is good to have the whole gang here. Maybe we'll have some other guests in later. We will see. But welcome everybody. It's good to have the whole team back together.
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Good to be back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, it could not be possible without all of the awesome people hanging out in the chat, of course. Let me scroll up and see who we have hanging out here tonight. I see Bruce Lee was here nice and early, 4 hours early, in fact. What is up, Bruce? It is always good to see you. And Bruce was one of the, after getting, I've gotten quite a lot of requests recently to set up a From Discord server just for people to have a place to hang out and stuff. And after getting a lot of requests, I was like, all right, I'm just going to go and set one up. And Bruce kind of helped me set. I don't know much about Discord. I've never really been a Discord kind of guy. It's not really I'm not too familiar with it. So I very much appreciate Bruce helping me set that up. And there is an official Fromville Discord that is active right now. And it, of course, is free for all to join. Anyone who wants to come and join, you are more than welcome to. There are only 2 rules: have fun and be respectful, like we do here on the channel. You guys know how we do it here. But yeah, if anyone wants to join the new Fromville Discord, have at it. I will definitely be familiarizing myself with the site over the next few days or so, and I will definitely get it in tip-top shape for sure. But there is the link right there in the chat. If anyone wants to join, you are more than welcome to. And again, thank you to Bruce, and Betrayed King was helping me out there as well. So thank you guys for that. It is good to see everybody. Good to see everybody indeed. Let's see. We got. I'm trying to order a faraway tree so I can start watching the stream early. I hate time zones. I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. And I know I keep saying it, and I promise I will deliver on it. But I am going to start doing some earlier streams. At least 2 or 3 hours earlier to help accommodate some of the international time zones. So they are coming. I promise. That I promise. We got Bill D in the house as well. What is up, Bill D? It is good to see you. Of course, we got Snuggy Jr. back. We got Angela E in the house. What is up, Angela E? It is good to see you. We got Carrie hanging out in the chat as well. What is up, Carrie? Always awesome to see Carrie in the chat. Nice stuff. We got Nicole J hanging out as well. Shit, I blew off my typing hand with illegal Mexican fireworks. Well, you got to be careful there, Nicole J. You have got to be careful there. You're going to need those 2 hands for typing at the very least. Can't lose you. How come none of the Frumbians, other than Christy, are longing for or missing the people they left behind? No one is missing their siblings, parents, friends, pets, hobbies, favorite bookstore, etc. Yeah, that is kind of a good question. In season 1, we hear Julie talk a little bit about her missing her friends, that the first thing she's going to do when she gets home is just call her friends just so she can talk to them. But other than that, and yeah, and the few lines from Christy, other than that, we don't really hear a lot of the survivors kind of reminisce about what they miss about back home, friends, pets, favorite bookstore, favorite restaurant, etc. We don't hear a whole lot of that. You're pretty right about that. It's a good observation.
Right, but it's a positive trade-off though, because sure, all the people that you like and you miss are gone, but like your in-laws, you never have to see them again. So the scales are pretty balanced there.
Yeah.
There's some pros and cons, I guess.
Yeah,
Some pros
yeah.
and cons. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really kind of just like almost like a one-line comment though by Julie, and Donna
Yeah.
had the exact counterpoint, which was, what if, you don't want to go back? What if, and that was something
yeah.
I'd brought up before. What if the real world is less appealing? I mean, yeah, believe it or not, could it be that the real world is actually less appealing? Some people, again, if they were wanted by the law, or if they came there with their family and their say for example that Frank didn't get put in the box, he would have lost his wife and his daughter. What would his purpose of life been? And
Yeah.
then if they did find a solution and got back to the real world, he'd go back to the real world without his wife and daughter. So
yeah. And
Yeah.
characters like Victor, like we saw even Victor himself mention this year, this is my home. What would someone like Victor do in the outside world? The guy doesn't know about internet. He doesn't know how to use a touchscreen, anything like that. He would be completely lost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely, there is that kind of argument where some of these characters maybe don't even want to go home. And I definitely think Donna and Victor are two of those most likely candidates. They're the John Locks of From, as it were.
Yeah. Well, I think that part of it's also is that Fromville has very strict rules and very strict boundaries, and I think that does give people some level of comfort. Is that they know exactly what to expect every day. They know,
Familiar.
right. It's familiar. They
Yep.
know how far they can go. What rules that they can stretch and what they can't, and so there is probably some level of relief to that. Instead of just being in the world where you've got a lot more parameters that you could deal
Yeah,
with.
got to worry about mortgage, holding a job, and
Yeah.
all this crazy stuff that us adults have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, to a
Right.
certain extent, there are some pros to being in that place. You just, it's less responsibility for starters. That's for sure.
Mhm.
I went to Catholic school as a kid, and yeah, I mean, there is some comfort in being like the structure. I mean, when
Yeah, the
something is like
structure,
very rigidly structured, very organized, you know
It can be
exactly
appealing. Yeah.
what to do, where to be at what time, and yeah, absolutely, yeah. There's something to it.
Yeah, and as Marlene Bender brings up, at least you know who the monsters are here in Fromville. Yeah, in the real world, you don't know, the monsters aren't as easily spotted, I guess you could say.
Right.
Yeah, good point. We have a question from Kiara. Is this the season 1 rewatch? Not tonight. We are going to be doing the season 1 rewatch parties every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. This is just our season 3 predictions video. We're just going to be talking pretty much all things from tonight. But the season 1 rewatch parties will be every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. So definitely looking forward to episode 2. We're going to be doing this Saturday. We go live at 10 p.m. Eastern. We'd like to give people, a good half hour or so to kind of pile in before we start the actual watch party. And then we will go on to episode 2. And episode 2, I am really looking forward to watching, because in episode 2, I believe, is when Ethan wakes up and recounts his very vivid dream that he has about the Lake of Tears and seeing some of Victor's drawings and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to picking that apart a little bit more.
Yep.
Something that I didn't do the first go around. But yeah, Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing episode 2 of season 1 and continuing the watch party then. And I hope you guys definitely come back and join us for that. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. Let's see. We got Bruna in the chat as well. What is up, Bruna? It is good to see you throwing up the smiley emoji, one of my personal favorites. Always awesome to see. I love it. I love it indeed. Let's see what else we got in the chat. I see Bruns. I see Jesse Rivero. What is up, Jesse? Always good to see Jesse hanging out. Hello to my favorite Fromily. Well, hello to my favorite Fromily indeed. That warms the cockles of our heart indeed. Indeed. We got Doc Hayes in the house. What is up, Doc Hayes? Always awesome to see you in the chat as well, my friend. Good to be here. Good to be here with all of you. One question: did the paper from the bottle tree send Boyd 2 that year? Is that how they will get out? LOL. That has been a question that has been popping up. Cromonocle, who hangs out in the chat sometimes. I know Cromonocle is on a different time zone as well. It's another person that I'm really hoping to get some earlier streams in so we can talk to some more of you international viewers. But Cromonocle had a really good theory regarding that, thinking that that's why that Boyd potentially went to that time period, because he had that piece of paper in his pocket, maybe the 1864 paper. And it's an interesting theory, to say the least. We don't know a whole lot about these pieces of paper and these bottles, what they represent. It seems like maybe they will all have similar dates in them. I know we saw all the different dates in Tabitha's vision, and we saw the 1864 there as well. So I wouldn't be too surprised if the rest of those bottles have similar dates in them. But we just don't know. We don't have a whole lot of info on these pieces of paper and these bottles. But I suppose anything's possible. Maybe you need a certain paper in you when you go through one of the faraway trees to escape. That is definitely becoming a popular theory for sure, and I like it.
I kind of dug that theory because it kind of opened up like every time period on those scraps to being almost either a standalone episode or a complete spinoff. And I think, we've talked about it, just off the top of my head, the 1931 would have been like Prohibition era, like Al Capone stuff. 1888 would have been Old West cowboys. I mean, imagine crossing the fallen tree with a stagecoach, and then now you're stuck in town. And it could be a very small town. It could be, just like a remote cabin situation, and they find themselves almost like the Hateful Eight. Even though I hated the Hateful Eight, the Tarantino movie, when you find yourself in a remote, isolated cabin or a tavern or an inn with bunches of different people, of all different origins and stuff. That could make for a definitely at least a standalone episode.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see some other time periods. I would. Yeah. I mean, we did see the Civil War soldier pop up, so we know they are kind of toying with the idea of potential other time periods. So I wouldn't mind seeing a nice flashback into some of these other time periods, and maybe reveal some of the origins of Fromville. Maybe we get a flashback to the origins of how the talismans were made, or something trippy like that. I would love something like that.
Absolutely. 1506 brings you to conquistador times.
Tons of stuff you can play with. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can go there.
Early 1600s was Pirates of the Caribbean, all that stuff. So it's almost like pick your favorite time period. And I think that those numbers, those dates on the bottles for sure, and on the lighthouse behind Tabitha, they weren't accidental. I mean, each of them corresponds to a time period. I can't remember the one like 1752. I'm not sure if that was like the French and Indian Wars prior to the American Revolution, but it was. There was something going on, just prior to our 1776 Revolution. So.
They'll have some kind of meeting, I think, at one point. I definitely don't think they are random by any means. They'll come in some sort, and they do kind of look like dates, but who knows? Maybe they'll end up seeing something else entirely. They will come into play, though. I don't think they're random.
But big shout out to Chromonaucle, though. That was a great. Of all the theories, and the thing is, some of these theories have to be, they don't have to be overarching. They could just be explaining one small aspect or going down a rabbit hole. And I love that, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of think that the dates are when people escape. So you have 1978, which would roughly be assuming that
could be Eloise right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but then the question is, how did the dates get back into? They escaped to the real world. How did the dates get back into Fromville for their escape?
Did someone inside there record the dates? How does someone know these are the dates that people escaped? Good question. We have seen the boy in white definitely seems to know things that are happening, maybe even before they happen in some cases, especially when he kind of tells Victor to wait for Tabitha down in the caves, almost like the boy in white knows she's going to fall down that hole and end up there. So there's a lot of trippy stuff that is going to be going on, and I cannot wait until season 3 gets here. Let's say what up to the rest of the chat. I see Bill Heck Money. What is up, Bill Heck? I see Billy Rose as well. What is up, everybody? It is good to see you. I see Phantom down there. What is up, Phantom TV? Always awesome to see you as well. I see Bitey hanging out down there as well. What is up, Bitey? Always awesome to see everybody hanging out. I see Crazy Mad. What is up, Crazy? Good to see you as well, my friend. Hope you are doing well. Hope everybody is having a fun and safe 4th of July. If you are celebrating 4th of July, that is. If you're not, I hope you are having a swell day nonetheless. Avengers Assemble. Indeed. We we dip in onion rings. We dip in onion rings in. Hey, you guys can dip whatever you
Ketchup.
want, and
Always
anything goes on this chat. Anything goes on this chat. What is up, everybody? We got Pakistan in the building.
Wow.
What is up,
Nice.
Pakistan? Hello to you. Welcome to the chat. Hopefully you are having a very, very good day or night wherever you are in the world. And welcome. Thank you for joining us. Wow,
Oh,
all the way
yeah.
from Pakistan. That is so cool, man. So freaking
That's
cool.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
a new
yeah.
one too. I think
Great.
that's the first.
Yeah, I don't think I've
Yeah.
seen Pakistan. We've seen, and that's what's been so cool about this show and about this these streams we've been doing in particular. Seeing people that have been tuning in from all over the world: Sweden, Germany, France, Australia, now Pakistan. It's so cool to see that this show is really, really spreading to really the all four corners of the globe at this point. So that's awesome. Welcome, Pakistan. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Awesome stuff. We got Dana
Andy.
Marie in the house as well. What is up, Dana Marie? Happy 4th, Fromily. Happy 4th to you as well. Love it. I love it. We got David P in the house as well. Season 3 is about to flip the whole show on its head. I really hope so, and I definitely hope that is the case. Seasons 1 and seasons 2 were definitely heavy on mystery and very light on answers, but I was expecting that. I was definitely expecting that, being that this is kind of following in that same vein of Lost and the other kind of mystery box style of storytelling that we've seen in the past. I had a feeling we weren't going to have I have a feeling the answers weren't going to be too heavy during these first 2 seasons. Even when you look back to Lost, which a lot of the writers and directors who are working on From now worked on Lost as well. You look back at Lost, you don't really start to get any definitive answers to that show until you get to seasons 3 and 4 even. So I am expecting when season 3 to come around too. Yeah, I think it's going to amp things up a little bit more. I think the stakes will definitely be raised. And I hopefully will start to see some of these mysteries get explored a little bit more. Because as much as I loved season 2, and I did love season 2, it was very, very light on answers. The plot didn't advance a whole lot in the season, which is fine. Like I said, I know it's still early on. They're definitely setting up the mystery. They're going to be a little light on answers in the beginning, but hopefully in season 3, they start to flush a little bit more of these things out. And I think they will. The writers definitely seem like they have a clear plan in place.
Yeah, I think they answered a few things. Some of it's a little bit more subtle. Like we did have the bottle imagery throughout the first and second season. I think that kind of paid off with the bottle tree. I mean, that's a small thing, but I think there's some things that are kind of giving us answers. But you do had in the last season, both Jade and then I forget who else referring to having a puzzle that you don't have all the pieces of and you don't know how to start, and then I forget what the other one, the instruction book with pages torn out. So we are getting a few things.
Yeah. Starting a book in the middle. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. And I mean, there's so many places they could take it. I remember with in one of the behind the scenes features, one of the writers, one of the creators / writers, John Griffin, I believe, was speaking about this, how talking about the story of From, and he can't tell if you're at the beginning of the story or the end or the middle. And I definitely get the sense we are smack dab in the middle of this story. Even when season 1 starts, it clearly a ton of stuff. There's a ton of history that happened in this town before where our story starts off with the Matthews family arrive in town. Clearly there's some history there. We had a whole other generation at least of people when Victor was a child that still needs to be explored. And of course we have everything ahead of us that has yet to happen. So yeah, I definitely think the story is smack dab in the middle. And in terms of number of seasons, I would love to see it get around 5 or 6 seasons at least to kind of wrap everything up. As many seasons that it doesn't get watered down and it stays good. I am all for it.
Well, I think if it goes 5, then you can really break it down and you're going to have Act 1, which is going to be all of your setup, which would be seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Act 2 is going to be season 3 and most of season 4. Season 4, you're going to hit your climax, and then season 5, you're going to close out Act 3. If they follow that, I mean, they've done a good job of setting it up.
Yeah.
I need a little bit more speed. The exposition's been great. The character development's been awesome. I just need a little bit more speed. There's been a lot of, especially towards the end of season 2, there were a couple of subplots that just kind of dragged it down in tone. They could have picked that up a little bit, and I'm really hoping we see a little bit more of that in season 3.
Okay, awesome. That's fair. That's totally fair. I'm definitely hoping that they're going to pick up a little bit of the pace did get a little bit slower at times in season 2, especially compared to season 1. Season 1 kind of followed a very specific pace, and I feel like it was so perfect from start to finish. Every episode in season 1 followed it flowed very nicely. Not that season 2 didn't, but like you said, there were some parts there, towards the middle that did kind of drag a little bit. But like you said, even when it was kind of, I know some people called some of the episodes filler episodes. I didn't really see any filler episodes myself personally, because even in some of the episodes that the plot was a little bit slower, like you said, we got some really, really good character development moments and just some flat out really good performances by these actors and actresses who are just killing these scenes.
Yeah.
So overall.
I was going to say, Snugs mentioned it in the previous time. You were talking about the, Boyd getting shot in the last episode. You want to kind of elaborate on that, on kind of why you felt it just didn't go anywhere?
Well, it didn't. I mean, it had no impact on the story at all. I mean, you see, you have Reggie kill Matthias, is that what his name was?
Matthias, the guard there that was locking the guns up, yep.
And I don't know if he shot anyone else in the process of it, but he did shoot Boyd, but then that had nothing. It maybe slowed him down a little bit, but it wasn't evident that him being slowed down really did anything to the plot.
I was thinking about that a little bit, and it almost seems like, what if potentially the entity was influencing Reggie to try and stop Boyd?
Oh, okay.
That was that was one thing that kind of came to mind. Maybe it could have just been Reggie kind of just snapped and lost it. He did just see his wife or girlfriend or significant other, whatever she was, it seemed like it was his girlfriend or something, die right in front of him in a very heinous way at that. And he clearly blames Boyd for bringing the worms back in the first place that started all of this mess. So it could have been Reggie maybe just kind of lost it and snapped. Or was there something a little bit more going on there? Was there an invisible hand at play a little bit there? Was the entity potentially worming its way inside of Reggie to kind of hopefully take Boyd out? Because clearly the entity knew that Boyd was a threat to him. We see this entity appear to Boyd multiple times in the form of his wife, clearly trying to stop him and distract him. This entity clearly knew that Boyd was a threat to its existence.
Yeah, I think if they'd have done that, that would have been a lot better. If they would have.
Well, and I think that could have been easily solved as well. Reggie's standing there with the gun talking to Boyd. He can just say, "Can't you hear the music? Can't you hear the music?" Like that would have implied that's being done. The fact that wasn't done is, and I'm not trying to be a wet blanket on your theory. I'm just saying, like,
no, it could have just been him being crazy.
Man, just one throwaway line adds so much more to that little moment. And if you don't add that throwaway line, it does seem like, okay, well, what was the point of Boyd getting shot? Obviously it's going to trail over into season 3, but here we have this climactic moment where Boyd gets injured, and there's no reason or rhyme to it to close out this season. It's just setting up yet another thing. And the way this season was paced, I don't think that was the best of choices. We'll see how it plays out, though, for sure.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Phantom TV says, every time I see the season 1 finale and Jim hears the voice on the other end of the radio, I think it's that fat other guy with the stash who was into guys. Fat other guy with the stash. Who's the fat other? I'm blanking on the fat other guy with the stash. Dale? Is that Dale? Dale. Does Dale have a stash?
Oh, I think
fat
so.
Other guy with a stash.
I think that's Dale.
Yeah, I'm not sure who the fat other guy with the stash is. If you know the character's name, definitely drop the character's name in chat, because I'm blanking on just fat guy with the stash.
Yeah, he had a stash.
Yeah,
other than that,
now I'm playing Blue's Clues, trying to figure out who this fat guy with the stash is.
Yeah, because Jasmine's boyfriend didn't have a stash.
No, he wasn't fat.
I mean, he wasn't.
And
fat,
he wasn't, and he wasn't into guys either, as far as we could tell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
Into Jasmine,
if you remember the character's name, definitely drop it in chat. But yeah, the season 1 finale, and that's another big question: who the heck's voice was on the other end of that radio? That is something that that's a pretty big plot thread that they still need to explore. Just like some other stuff that happened at the end of season 1 that they don't even really touch on in season 2, like what exactly was dragging Boyd and Sarah's tent through the woods at the end of season 1. There's these little things that I do hope they explore a little bit more in the future. And of course, the big question that has been still on tons of people's mind, judging by my comment section still to this day, how exactly did Martin throw that rope down to Boyd, which everybody is still wondering. It's kind of become the season 2 running gag at this point. How did Martin throw the rope down? But yeah, we hopefully we can find out this and some more of these things on season 3 and beyond. I definitely expect the pacing to be a little faster pace from season 3 than it was in season 2. Not as much setup, maybe a little more payoff, but it's going to be a long road. This is definitely going to be a long road. The show definitely requires a little bit of patience on the audience part, and I do think that patience will be very, very well paid off in the end. We got Miss T in the house as well. What is up, Miss T? It is good to see you as well. Let me scroll down there a little bit. I see Lieutenant Hughes as well, and if I missed anybody, I'm terribly sorry. This thing tends to jump on me every once in a while, but I do see Carrie. What is up, Carrie? Awesome to see you as well. Miss T says, any thoughts on Victor putting drawing of Julie in the lunchbox? Will Tabitha remember like the lunchbox will for Eloise? Yeah, that was another interesting thing there, and I saw a lot of people asking that as well. What was the purpose of putting that drawing in there? I don't know. Yeah, who knows? Maybe Victor knows a little bit more about leaving Fromville than we know, and maybe the memory is affected in some way. It's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. Or yeah, maybe it's for Eloise's sake. You guys, anyone who has been hanging out here for a while knows my big hope in season 3 is that Tabitha will potentially, hopefully, meet up with Eloise in some way, shape, or form. I do get the feeling that Eloise did make it out of Fromville as well, or at least made it to the same place that Tabitha is in right now. And I get the sense that maybe Victor's mother was maybe sacrificed herself to get Eloise into the faraway tree, because Victor comes, of course, and he sees his mother's body laying by the faraway tree, and he's under the assumption that she never made it into the tree. And I could totally see something happening where Victor's mother kind of has to sacrifice herself to get Eloise into the trees to save her, but she doesn't get to get in time or something like that. I could totally see something like that happening, and Eloise goes on to make it out of Fromville. I'd love to see them kind of teaming up in season 3 where they're in the real world or whatever world that they're in now, trying to find a way back into Fromville to rescue everybody else. I feel like that could be a very interesting dynamic to add to the show, having someone in the real world trying to break back in, as opposed to everyone trying to break out. But yeah, as far as the drawing goes of Julie in the lunchbox, no clue. Who knows what Victor is trying to do there? Definitely let me know what you guys think in the chat as well. What do you think the drawing was about? And on the panel, if you guys have any ideas. I have none, though. I'm not sure what it's for.
But yeah, somebody in the chat said, clearly Julie didn't want anything to do with that drawing. But I mean, that might have just been Victor giving Tabitha something, just
being nice, maybe. Yeah, could have just been a keepsake. You're right.
Yeah. Here's a picture of your daughter. If she didn't want it, and I mean, he wasn't doing anything with it, so.
Well, I mean,
one thing that's strange, though, just because it's a drawing of Julie, apparently, and we heard Victor say just an episode or 2 prior where how you shouldn't draw things of the living. Drawings are for things that are gone, so you can remember them. So Victor's kind of breaking his own rules there, drawing Julie as she's very much still alive. So yeah, maybe it is just a keepsake.
Unless he thought Julie was gone or was on her way to being gone, because
maybe Julie was still kind of. She was in that state at that point, in that kind of trance-like state with the cicadas. You're right. Yeah.
No, I thought that was the one that she drew of her. Remember when she first got there and she was asleep on the couch? because that was why everybody thought Victor was so creepy. He's like, I drew this while you were sleeping, and she's like, oh, you're fucking weirdo.
yeah. It's definitely it creeped. Right here, Julie is kind of like not tied to this chair, but she's just got fresh into Fromville, and she's got this guy talking about peaches and drawing her drawings. Yeah, I could totally understand her being a little creeped out. But no, as far as what the purpose of Victor putting that in the lunchbox was, no clue. No clue, personally. I mean, who the heck knows at this point? Who knows?
If Tabitha lost her memory, and this isn't going to help her get it back, because it's not like the picture actually looks like her daughter.
Yeah, it was wrapping something. It was a lunchbox. Perhaps it was raw meat or something. What else do you wrap? Yeah, maybe it wasn't even just a drawing to give her a drawing. Maybe he was just using the actual piece of paper to wrap something up. You could be right, Betrayed King. That it could be that simple. Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Some dried peaches.
Yeah, here's some dried peaches wrapped up in an old drawing. And as Dante says, remember, it's from. Exactly, it is from at the end of the day. So we do have to remember that. Very good point. Very good point. Martin's dialogue with Boyd before the rope dropped down to Sarah, saying that he was laughing at you. Put these together only explains it propelled that situation. Don't use logic when magic can't apply. Yeah, and I definitely think I know that's been a big debate up until this point. Is there supernatural stuff going on? Is everything going to be boiled down in some kind of scientific way? I definitely think we are clearly in the realm of the supernatural at this point. I feel like the entity definitely kind of not proves that, but definitely lends a lot of evidence to that this is not science fiction. I think there's going to be some science fiction elements, definitely. I mean, the show technically is categorized as sci-fi, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm seeing much more signs of this being more of a supernatural or magical, mystical element as opposed to science fiction. And I really hope it is a little more mystical. I don't want it to be sci-fi at the end of the day. Not all sci-fi anyway. I'm okay with some sci-fi, but I don't want everything to be explained away simply with science fiction. I want some of the stuff to kind of be a little more mystical. And I think it will be. I definitely think it will be.
Yeah, totally with you on that, man. I've kind of had my fill. I mean, and I guess, everybody has their own like threshold of how much they like a certain thing, and space and high tech and science and everything is cool. But I mean, that's why people gravitate to it, even in like their real lives, like mysticism and paranormal and everything else, man. Sometimes you just really wish, even or like the Harry Potter stuff, man. You just wish that the world was, the world is not magical. You kind of just wish it was sometimes.
Mhm.
And that's why shows like this will really hit, because you're like, wow, yeah, it is very cut and dried. It's a survival show, it's a monster show, it's a horror show, it's all these different things that appeal to such a broad demographic too. I mean, there's something for almost everyone in this show.
In this show in particular, you're absolutely right. It's got some horror elements, supernatural elements, mystery and suspense, a little bit of sci-fi. There is a little bit of everything in this show for sure. They are hitting the nail on the head if they want to, kind of reach the widest possible demographic. They really are doing a good job there. But yeah, I definitely think we're heading a little bit more into the supernatural realm than we are the science fiction realm, personally. But I guess it remains to be seen. Remember, maybe the children who needed rescuing are in the hospital or the town where Tabitha is now. There's a possibility that maybe we're only seeing a projection of their minds kind of projected into Fromville, and maybe their physical bodies are actually somewhere else. That's totally possible. I got the sense that the children are likely dead, and these are kind of their spirits that we're seeing, but they could totally still be alive somewhere, and these are just a different form of their consciousness that we're seeing. Totally possible. Victor always says the drawings remember, so that's most likely the main reason for giving it to her. Exactly. Yeah, we hear Victor say, even when you forget, the drawings will remember. So yeah, maybe it could be that. Maybe he wants Tabitha to remember Fromville if something happens to wherever she is and she starts to forget. Maybe could be possible. It could be possible. Why were Eloise's drawings in Christopher's trunk? Is Chris dead? I wondered that so many times myself as well. Could Christopher potentially have been Victor's father? We hear nothing about Victor's father. He clearly mentions his mother-in-law. He clearly loved his mother-in-law, had a really good relationship with his mother, but we don't hear anything about Victor's father ever. When I first saw Martin, actually, I thought, could this potentially be Victor's father? And maybe he was a part of the town when Victor was a kid. But the more I'm starting to see this Christopher connection, yeah, maybe, who knows? Maybe Christopher was Victor's father. It's something that could definitely be explored a little bit more there. But as far as why the drawings were in the trunk there, as far as I remember, I'm pretty sure Victor puts the drawings in that truck because he wants to forget. It seems like the pain of him losing his sister, not just losing his sister, but it seemed like the pain of him personally failing to protect his sister was really eating at him. So it's almost like he locks those drawings into the trunk so he can kind of put them in a corner of his mind and just completely forget about them. And clearly it worked, because for however long, it seems like Victor completely suppressed the memory of his sister even existing. For he went, Lord knows how many years, not even remembering he even had a sister until he went back into that trunk. So I get the sense it was probably along those lines. He wanted to forget some of these, memories that were kind of eating at him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's hard to tell. It is hard to tell. The name Fatima is very interesting because the name is one of the holy figures in Islam. She was the daughter of a prophet and held a role of leader, spiritual and political. Interesting. Yeah, and that's one thing. I often think, this show, and I know a lot of other shows do it as well. They'll name characters very specific names for callbacks like this in particular every once in a while. So yeah, who knows? Maybe there's a little bit more to the Fatima name than just an interesting name. It's interesting.
Yeah, and that's gotten. I mean, as far as I know, that's a fairly common name among Islamic women, especially Iranian, Persian. I've seen that name a lot, just in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I don't know like what an English analog would be. Maybe like Mary, kind of.
Yeah, similar maybe. Yeah. Victor draws because it helps him to remember, not forget. Hence why he was more pictures of the past than the dead than of the living. Yeah, clearly Victor's mind. It seems like Victor doesn't trust his own memory at the very least. So he kind of draws these moments, these important moments. So in case he does forget at some point, he'll remember when he looks at these pictures. And I get the sense that's probably why he put those Eloise drawings in that trunk, because it seems like he probably just wanted to forget. But who knows? Pictures help remember. I agree. They really do. Absolutely. And welcome. Don't even worry about it. It is good to see you in the chat. And welcome to all of the recent new arrivals. Awesome to see everybody here hanging out. And yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, I'm sure we've all had a similar experience where you look at a photograph from, decades ago and you instantly kind of remember the entire memory, almost the exact feeling you had when you were in that moment. Pictures really will help you remember at some point. Like they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words at the end of the day, maybe even more. Who knows? Maybe even more. I think Victor uses the drawings the way we use family photos as well as a way to remember events. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think it's Victor's way of remembering in case maybe his memory fails him a little bit. I definitely think that's the case for sure.
Right. Well, like 613 Jesse Rivero mentions, I don't trust Victor's memory either. He forgot a whole sister.
Yeah,
that's part of it. Part of the key part when you're going to have an unreliable narrator is sometimes you want to establish him as a trusted source, and then you reveal that he's an unreliable narrator. In this case, it's definitely because of obviously the trauma of it. But what that begs the question of is now you can't trust everything that he told you beforehand.
Yeah.
And so it's
and
all
everything that he said past. Yeah.
And that's a huge part of what season 2 ended on, is that you had all of these quote unquote knowns about the town and how it worked. And from the get-go on episode 1, they started reestablishing everything we learned in season 1. Yeah, that's true, but there's another layer. And even beyond that, once they finish that secondary layer with the Martin and the worms, the next thing they do is erase everything from season 1, or at least put question marks on it by showing that Victor cannot be relied upon because his memory is not complete. And that's what adds to the whole mixture, because now you're in a position where, well, what is true? What isn't? We don't know anything, really. You can't rely on Victor. You can't rely on Boyd. Was Boyd hallucinating? You don't know. So it's a great, it's a psychological cliffhanger instead of an action cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah, definitely, without doubt, and I like that. That's a very a good way of putting it. And like you said, I mean, how much of how much of what we've heard from Victor in the past do we have to go back and question now? Like Jesse says, his memory, it's been proven at this point it's not very reliable. So at least at this point, from the rest of the show going forward, the audience is most likely going to be questioning some of the stuff that Victor says, just for the simple fact that does he even know if he's remembering events the right way? So it opens up a lot of interesting narrative possibilities with this whole memory thing coming into play. I saw a lot of people mentioning this in the chat earlier, that they noticed that the boy in white's lips form a crow, and yeah, that very much is true.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the drawings, there's some really interesting stuff to catch here in the opening intro credit sequence.
Is that
And
the
yeah,
boy in white though?
I think it's supposed to be the boy in white. I mean, there's a when you see this, it kind of scrolls up from bottom to top, and you see his whole body, and it looks almost like exactly like the little boy in white is drawn.
That top button, man, I tell you, man, whenever anybody buttons their top button, whether it's Forrest Gump, whether it's Victor, whether it's Boy in White, there's always something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Well, this Victor has his, but that, the sadness in the eyes makes me think it's Victor and not the boy in white.
Oh, okay. I suppose it's possible. I definitely suppose it's possible.
Could be a self-portrait. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Lieutenant Hughes did want to bring to our attention a member chat, a 5-month member. Lieutenant Hughes has been with us. Yeah, if you didn't pick it up, I'll get. Victor didn't forget his sister on purpose. He specifically told us that he put the old art away because he didn't want to remember. It was painful.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's almost like the pain, the pain of failing his sister was just a little bit too much. So he figures, let me lock these, drawings away. Hopefully it'll lock the memory away with it. And, he was right, because it clearly worked. He forgot that he even had a sister for who knows how long. So yeah, thank you. And thank you, Lieutenant Hughes, being a member for 5 months. Awesome to see you getting into From, my friend. I love it indeed. But yeah, these I saw a lot of people were mentioning these this drawing in the comment sections and in the chat earlier, and I do have most of them loaded up. We can kind of go through, if you want, we can go through all of them and see what we see here. Now, these are some of the drawings that we see on the intro sequence, and I guess we can try and translate some of them. Obviously, start off with the diner, and we know what that is, of course, the diner in town. Now here we see 2 children holding, with a little dog here. And obviously this looks to be like the dog that we are seeing all over Fromville, the ghost dog, as it were, that seems to be helping Boyd every once in a while. And then we see the representation of these 2 children. And definitely let me know in the chat, who do you think these 2 children are a representation of? I thought at first potentially this could be young Victor and Eloise, and maybe this was their dog originally. But then again, you see this figure later on in some of the drawings, and it almost looks like it's the same girl with her face ripped off. And I have a feeling, I mean, it's a different dress, but it's still a little girl with her face ripped off, and you see kind of the same clovers here that were on her dress. So I don't know if that's meant to be the same little girl, or if that's meant to be just 2 totally different girls. But this girl is clearly seen better days.
Yeah.
If this is a representation of Eloise, I mean, I don't see how. I get the feeling that Eloise is still alive. I don't think she is dead.
And her arm's gone. That's a good.
And her arm's gone. Yeah, and her arm is gone. But yeah, it's definitely let me know who you guys think these who this is a representation of, and what do you think it'll come into play? Because here we see those same kind of flowers that we saw in the other drawing as well.
It's interesting that they're off the dress in the other picture. If it's the same, if it's supposed to be the same character, that those clovers are no longer on the dress.
Yeah.
Not sure what that means.
Kayla, how you doing, Kayla?
Oh, wow.
Hey, Kayla.
What is up, Kayla? It is good to see you. And definitely sending my thoughts and good prayers over to Kayla. She is nursing a injured cat right now, and that cat means the world to her. So send some good vibes Kayla's way if you are able. And thank you so much for the $9.99 stopping by in between cat duty to say what's up what's up? Show support for you guys. Wish I could join while you were on the topic of art. Doesn't the art in the bedroom remind you of Ellis and Fatima being Adam and Eve? It does kind of have some Adam and Eve kind of connotations to it as well. And again, big thank you for the super chat, Kayla. And I really hope that the cat is all better soon. I know how much that cat means to you. So best of wishes. And yeah, I hope to see you back very soon.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's been brought up before, but I don't know if it's when we first meet Fatima, but when she's talking to Julie in the kitchen, she's eating an apple.
Oh, good catch.
An apple of, it's okay. We got some Apple of Eden references. We got some Adam and Eve references. Where's the serpent? Where is the serpent? Who knows? You definitely could be onto something there, Kayla. And you're not the first one. There have been a lot of other people who have kind of pointed out that this is a potential Adam and Eve type scenario here. And it very well could be. It certainly very well could be. I'm not very versed on biblical stuff. I know a little bit about the Adam and Eve story. I know the basics, but I have no clue. It's definitely not my area of expertise. But it could be. I know a lot of other people have definitely made that connection as well. So a lot of people seem to think that. And again, thank you. But yeah, what do you guys think this could potentially represent? Obviously, at first glance, since we know that this was drawn by Ellis, at first glance, you think this is maybe a depiction of Ellis and Fatima. But I saw a lot of people during season 1 making the thinking that this was potentially a depiction of Boyd and Sarah, and that Boyd and Sarah are ultimately going to be the ones that solve everything. I mean, I guess anything's possible at this point, but who knows?
Kiara says in the top right, there's a serpent or a snake in the top right corner of the picture.
Oh, is there?
Unless
here,
it's like
maybe?
from a farther distance, maybe. I don't know if we like, because is that similar picture in Ellis's room?
Yes,
she says,
almost the same mural is in Ellis's attic that he hand painted.
She says the previous pic with the dog. Yeah, and I want to give I want to give Kayla her due for her $10 super chat. But that is one person, man. You want when you have I wish I could have a friend like Kayla. She's one of those like true blue, gonna stand by you to the end kind of friends. So yeah, you could always strive to have a good friend like Kayla.
Yeah,
all of us on the panel now know how you think of us.
I don't even know you guys.
Yeah, it's tough to tell. These almost look like tire tracks. That almost looks like a freaking like tire marks almost. That looks like treads, but who knows what it could be. There's so much about these drawings that we still need to kind of interpret. I know some of the stuff is I know some of it we can kind of already interpret, but some of the stuff is still very, very ambiguous. But let's we're gonna go over all of them.
Well, I think it's almost assumed that Ellis drew that, but he draws better than that. His drawing that he's shown doing in the first or second episode, he's a lot better than that.
It's really good.
The charcoal paint, the charcoal.
Yeah, this one's more of an abstract kind of drawing, but it is in his attic. If you look at it in season 1, I don't know if I'm sure you can see it in season 2 in some scenes, but especially in season 1 when Julie is living in Colony House, when she's upstairs with Fatima and Ellis, you can see it right behind her. It's that exact painting. But who knows what it means? When I first saw it, I just thought it's probably just a depiction of Fatima and Ellis, but maybe there's something more to it as well. But there's a lot of mystery in these drawings. But next, of course, this is the one that a lot of people were talking about. They saw what appears to be the boy in white with what looks to be a crow symbol in the mouth. And I know, and we've mentioned this on the channel before, and it's very interesting. Of course, we see the crows that are very prevalent, especially in season 1. Everybody sees the tree. Everybody sees the crows when they get stuck in Fromville. But what exactly does the crow, being what does the symbol of the crow being in the shape of his mouth mean? Is that just a coincidence? I doubt it. The crows, that's the thing. The crows haven't really played much of a big part in the story as of yet. We still don't really know what their role is and everything. We've seen what the down tree is specifically to turn cars away so they can go back and get stuck in Fromville. That's why the tree's there. But what exactly do the crows represent? What is the purpose of the crows? Why are they there? That hasn't really been explored yet, and I imagine it probably will at some point. We do see at one point in season 2, we see one of the crows dead down in the caves when Victor and Tabitha are down in the caves, and there's a rat actually eating the crow. So that's the only time we really see the crows kind of come into the story on the actual show. But I have to imagine they are going to play some sort of part. They really make these crows to be almost significant in some cases, because the very next drawing that we see in the intro is crows. Like and all of these drawings that we're seeing, this is how they appear in sequential order during the intro. I took these shots in order. So this is we see the boy in white with the crow, and then the very next drawing we see are crows in the intro sequence. So it can't be a coincidence.
And I love that.
And let us know what you guys think in the chat as well. Sorry.
Because and a show that wasn't going to catch on, like a show that was these are all part of like the opening montage. Yes. But it's pretty much a rapid fire slideshow kind of. I mean, I don't know that they really planned on these being like freeze framed and like shot by shot kind of like dissected. So I think it's really awesome that they put little effects like the crow. I mean, crows are an element of the show, and the boy in white or Victor or whoever that kid is going to be an element of the show, and putting those together, whoever the artist was. And I think Tony mentioned that he knows who that guy was, but he wanted to keep it quiet or whatever. He keep his identity quiet. But I thought it was so cool though, that they'll do that. And we, if this was just a throwaway show, nobody would have thought twice about it. But because, here it is, after the season's over with, the second season, we're sitting here going frame by frame through the intro. That is pretty awesome, I think. And that speaks to how, and we got 113 people watching too, which is, doubly awesome. I just can't,
appreciate it.
We love this show, and we love the fact that you guys love it too and want to spend your time with us, going over this little minutia and stuff. But it makes it worth it. And I don't think I've ever done this for any show that I know of. Maybe Firefly, but there wasn't a community that could all get together. I mean, I know it had a huge fandom, but we never really got together like with all the technological things that we have, to connect us like we have now. So I think it's so cool that they added the crow and that kid. It may not be any deeper than that, other than there's crows in the show and there's a kid in the show and there's trees in the show. But I think it's cool that they did that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, with the nature of a show like this, given its mystery box nature, I have to imagine the writers had to know that people were going to be poring over every inch of this show, just by the weight of its very nature. I mean, they have to. I'm sure they remember how everybody pored over Lost when Lost came out. I mean, especially these days when you have the internet and it's so easy to kind of connect. And which, like we do like we do here 2-3 times a week, where we go live and, we hang out with everybody in the chat talking about the show. The same thing is happening all over the place with multiple shows, where this day and age, I imagine every show writer is probably hoping that they can get this type of response from a fan base, where they do have dedicated fans like this diving into every little aspect that they can hopefully find some more clues to it.
Yeah.
And
I just don't think
fan base.
Yeah, I just don't think that like the writers would would hide anything in the intro, that we don't already have access to. Like when
I do.
The writing people would get in touch with the art people, and I could see them saying there's going to be this and there's going to be this and this.
Yeah, I think these images are specifically directed by the writers. I don't think these are random images. I mean, they have to be. A lot of these images that we see are direct things that have happened in the show. So I don't think they're random. I think they specifically have story points to deal with. I think I could be wrong, but I mean, I think they're going to be specific. I think they were kind of directed to draw these specific drawings.
Okay,
maybe, but who knows? Who knows?
Time will tell. Yeah, that's one of those. Yeah, that is. And I mean, like when the chat disagrees or agrees with us, and the same thing, just with you guys on the panel. Like sometimes we've seen entirely different things. Or we've placed entirely different levels of emphasis on certain things. So I think it's absolutely cool. Absolutely. So, and it's entirely possible.
It's a
You may be
great
right. I
aspect
could be
of the
completely
show.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah,
It won't be the first time I've been completely wrong.
Oh, same here. Same here. And that's what's fun about the show. You guys know what I say. Have fun with a show like this. Throw that tinfoil hat on and dive into that rabbit hole and just have fun with it. A show like this is, if you can't have fun with a show like this, then you're not going to have fun with shows, period, because there's so much mystery to kind of dive into here. But yeah, let's continue. Of course, yeah. Let me see what the chat is saying a little bit. Of course, what do you guys think about this boy in white drawing? What could his connection be to the crows, or is there a connection at all, or is this just random imagery meant to look cool for the intro? Both are definitely possible. He looks older and he looks like a giant. Look at his size compared to the trees. Victor does not draw himself that big compared to the trees, and that is an interesting observation. Yeah, we see the trees behind him, and the trees are very mini, almost like, is he a big giant? Are they kind of out of perspective? What exactly is going on there? Yeah, because the trees do look minuscule compared to the size of him. So it's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah, Victor didn't draw that.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Too good.
And that, what's that?
Oh, Victor didn't draw that because it's too good. He does.
It's too good.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe this is one of Eloise's before she went missing. Who knows? In that picture of the boy in white, it appears that he is older and giant as well. So Gary is pointing it out as well. Nice. How about this? Did the boy in white cause the slaughter in that street? Now, there's an interesting possibility. I mean, the first time we see the boy in white on the show is right during the next morning after that giant massacre, and Victor credits the boy in white with the reason why he survived on his own for so long. But maybe, where was the boy in white before the massacre? Because it seems like the boy in white didn't appear to Victor until after the massacre. So what was the boy in white doing in the time leading up to the massacre? Where was he this whole time before all of those events? Or was he even around? I know a lot of people seem to think that that the boy in white was a kind of imaginary friend that was maybe conjured up by Victor and kind of took on an entity of its own. I would love to see if something like that be the case. I think that could be very interesting. But if not, where exactly was the boy in white before of the massacre? Did he potentially have a hand in the massacre? Was he, and that's the thing. We still have nothing. We have no clue who this little boy in white is and what his end game, what his goal is. And, at first glance, you get the sense that he could potentially be there to help. We see him help our survivors a lot in season 1 and in some extent in season 2. But then at the very end of season 2, we see him push Tabitha out of the top of the tower. Now, again, it still could be part of his plan to help everybody. Or could there be...
was the only way.
He said that was the only way. It seemed like he was remorseful for doing it. It seemed like he didn't want to be pushing her out of that window. So yeah, you're right. It's like almost like he said, this was the only way. And I think we brought up this before. It kind of had those Doctor Strange vibes in Infinity War, where this is the only way, Tony. That's what it reminded me of, anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of an interesting thing to think about as far as like what. So the mother was going to the tower to free the kids, and that was how they're going to get home. But the kids aren't in the tower. The kids are in the caves, or at least I guess we don't know that yet.
Yeah,
we see them. We see them on the altars or whatever they are in the cave. Yeah. And I don't know whether the boy in white is trying to help, and then he pushes her into the real world, or whether he's trying to prevent her from helping and is pushing her into the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really hard to tell, and if she's even in the real world. I know that has been a huge debate among in the chat and in all the comment sections. It's been kind of like a 50-50 debate at this point as to whether or not people think Tabitha is back in the real world or whether she's just in some other part of Fromville that is just being unlocked now. And like I said, I suppose either are possible. I tend to think she is back in the real world. I just think that would make for a much more interesting story as opposed to them just unlocking this other pocket dimension sort of thing.
Yeah.
I just think it would make a little bit more sense if she was back in the real world, and I think it would make a really interesting storyline if she could potentially meet up with Eloise in season 3, and those two could potentially team up and try to find a way back into Fromville to rescue everybody else. Because I don't think it is by accident. I know we've talked about this before, but I definitely don't think it is by accident or just coincidence that the writers put that lunchbox in Tabitha's possession. If all if all the writers were trying to do was have Victor give Tabitha some snacks as a nice gesture, you could have put him in any old bag. The writers specifically put that lunchbox in Tabitha's possession for a reason. I'm thinking, almost like it would be the identifying mark if Eloise sees it. Maybe Eloise will see that lunchbox, and that would potentially what brings Eloise and Tabitha together. I just don't think it's a coincidence that Tabitha ended up with that lunchbox when she went over that tower. I do think it's probably still with her wherever she ended up, and I definitely think it is going to come into play in season 3.
Yeah,
but
and there was some heated discussion about people were saying the boy in white can't be good because when has anybody good ever pushed somebody out of a window of a lighthouse? And I'm like, well, that's true, but I mean, do we feel that way about Sarah though? Because I mean, Sarah did some pretty egregious things too, but I mean, I think some people are still on the fence about whether she's necessarily bad. Do we consider her bad now because of what she did before?
I don't consider her bad, but I consider Sarah's case totally different from the boy in white's, because Sarah was clearly being manipulated by outside forces. These weren't her choices that she was making, whereas the boy in white seems to be enacting his own plan. Whether that's to help the survivors or harm them remains to be seen. But it seems like the boy in white kind of has his own faculties about him. He operates under his own guise, whereas Sarah was clearly being manipulated, and those weren't her choices. So I think that's why maybe people will give Sarah a possibility of a redemption arc because she was being manipulated. But I don't see Sarah as inherently evil. No, I see her as a lost kind of kid that was being manipulated, really.
But she did. She did take action. I mean, she could have said no. She could have. She wasn't being fully controlled. She was definitely influenced. That's without a doubt. But
yeah, well, I mean, these weird entities, are appearing to her. These weird voices appearing to her, telling her that the only person that she loves in the world, her brother, is going to die if they don't listen to her. And a person like Sarah, it seems like that would be an easier target to manipulate using that familial threat there. Okay. But with the boy in white, I feel like the boy in white is definitely making his own choices 100%. I don't think he's really being manipulated by anything. But it's still hard to tell what exactly is his end game. Is he ultimately trying to help the survivors, or does he have some other sort of plan? If the boy in white knew that there was an exit at the top of the lighthouse, why doesn't he just tell everybody about the exit and get them out of there? It's almost like he's got some other plan other than getting the people home. I think he's got a other plan entirely. Otherwise, why not just have Sarah or some of the few people? We know that he can't interact with everybody, but he can clearly interact with enough people to, if he wanted to get a message across to the survivors, he easily could do that. Why not tell everybody, hey, there's an exit at the top of the lighthouse. Take a jump for it. You're good. Right. I think he's got some other plans in mind. I think he's got a different end game other than just helping the survivors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I think it is that there's whatever supernatural beings there are two factions.
Yes.
And the boy in white is one faction, the entity is another faction, and they're working against each other, and the people are caught in the middle. Yeah. And so even though it seems like the boy is helping, he's not helping them to help them, he's helping him to help himself. Yeah, and then maybe that's what this is a representation of. Maybe that's what these two symbols ultimately are. Maybe this is ultimately the boy in white symbol, and maybe this is ultimately the entity symbol. And maybe neither is good or bad. Maybe they're just they're just two forces that are in opposition to each other. Neither good, neither bad, neither light, neither dark. Just two naturally opposing forces. I almost feel like that would make a little bit more of an interesting story than the kind of same old light versus dark that we see in a lot of other stories. Instead of having one side be good and one side be bad, why not just have it be two natural forces that just naturally oppose each other, neither good or bad, but just doing what they can to kind of get a upper hand on the other. Right. I could definitely see that being a possibility. It definitely seems like there is a bigger game
at work, at play here in the background. It definitely seems like the survivors, even the monsters to some degree, are only pawns in this whole thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, let's see what the chat is saying. I don't think we ever addressed this. Why was the boy in white singing in Elgin's head or dream? Yeah, that's another interesting thing. I mean, we're led to believe that Elgin is going to remember this kind of important part of his dream that's going to really help. And at the end of the day, all Elgin's dream revealed was the same old nursery rhyme that we have heard all throughout the second half of season 2 anyway. All Elgin's dream really did was remind us that yes, the boy in white is still around somewhere, because we hadn't seen the boy in white at all in season 2 until the very end. Yeah, it's a good question. Why exactly did the boy in white appear to Elgin to give him that message? Maybe he was trying to give Elgin the message to quote unquote stop the melody, because ultimately the stop the melody line was what saved everybody when Boyd smashes the music box. Maybe he was trying to help in that regard. It's hard to tell. It is hard to tell. And yeah, Sarah mentioned he is not really a boy. He has the face of an older being. The size of the red monsters, the large scale of the drawing reminds me of the scale the red monster was drawn in the caves. And yeah, that's the thing. The little boy in white, he appears as a little boy for all intents and purposes, but clearly he's much, much older than he looks. At the very least, we know that he's been in this same kind of boyish form ever since Victor was a child, going on, 3-4 decades ago. So at the very least, this boy in white, this entity is much older than he appears. He's not a boy. He appears like a boy. We call him the boy in white, but he's much older, of course. Yes.
Right.
Why doesn't Boyd get rid of that empty bottle of Kremlin Cola off his desk? It's been there for a while. I remember someone was pointing it out. It's been there since season 1. What the heck? I don't know. I do not know. The boy in white is not evil or good. His motivations are more complex than that. At least in my opinion, he is trying to help, but he can't do much due to working for the Big Red. Okay, almost like maybe the boy in white, wants to help, but maybe he's a prisoner of some sorts here, and he can only help to a certain degree. Maybe that's why he can't just flat out tell everybody, hey, here's an exit up here at the lighthouse. Maybe there's some certain rules that the boy in white just can't break. Maybe that could be a possibility. Could be a possibility indeed. I mean, if the boy in white is singing Elgin's dream about the melody, like how Kenny heard the voice melody on the phone, that would cause confusion. Potentially. I mean, although it seems like everything that we heard in the back half of season 2 kind of caused confusion, so that's kind of right on par. She is 100% in the real world, which is why I think it adds more of a story, since she will be the first person we know of that tries to get back into Fromville, and that's what I'm really hoping happens in season 3. Anyway, like I just feel like it could add a really interesting dynamic to this show if you have one character or multiple characters that are in the real world trying to convince everybody that this Fromville place actually exists, and trying to convince everybody to help find it. I mean, I could just imagine how crazy Tabitha would end up looking if she's in the real world trying to tell everybody about this mysterious Fromville place where monsters come out at night to hunt everybody and you can never escape. She's got Tabitha has a very tough road ahead of her if that is going to be her arc in season 3, which I really hope it is. I really hope it is. Does anyone know where I can buy a bottle of Krellman's Cola? I don't know. That me personally, I wish I could help. I do not know myself. I think those kids in the cave set up below the lighthouse open a portal that Jade sees. Now that's a very interesting thing. We see here in season 2, at the end of season 2, Jade goes down to the caves, and it is revealed that he sees the weird kind of Ankui children lined up in a very strange, almost like a kind of sacrificial ritual was going on here. So, or maybe even an experiment of some kind. They almost looked like they were in some sort of trance when he was looking at them, kind of chanting that Ankui word in like some weird trance is what it looked like they were in. But yeah, what exactly was the purpose of this? One thing we do see here on the cave paintings, We do see this represented in the cave paintings, though. Here we see 7 blocks, 7 similar blocks to the 7 blocks or altar-like stones that we see the children on. 7 of them right beneath the big symbol, which is exactly what happens in the cave. We see these 7 children are kind of on this altar, and right above them is where the symbol appears. But what exactly is that symbol? Was it a portal of some kind? Was this one big ritual to open a portal into Fromville? Or was something else going on here? It's hard to tell. But yeah, definitely let us know what you guys think was going on here with these Ankui children in the chat and on the panel. What do you guys think?
I'm very satisfied with that as being like that is what that represents. I mean, I was thinking, well, should it be a star? But I mean, that would have been too on the nose, I think, for the cave painting to match the star-shaped layout of the 7 slabs there.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied that those are like directly what it represents. I thought it was weird that Jade didn't see any of those cave paintings, though. He didn't go on the same path that Tabitha and Victor went, and so he didn't see any of that stuff. Or I mean, he saw that version of the symbol, but
he didn't see any of the symbols on the wall. You're right.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, man, I was really expecting that he would, especially after listening to the behind the scenes features. We actually hear this. I actually have it right here. We hear this specifically in the behind the scenes features, which led me to believe exactly that, Ravener, that he was going to go down in these caves and he was going to look at the actual symbols, and those are going to give him a clue, because we hear the showrunner say this.
The tunnels underneath the town may help us understand what that symbol is that Jade has been searching for.
I've seen this.
I've seen this.
Part of me was thinking that, yeah, maybe he would go down there and kind of study these cave paintings a little bit more and get some answers, but it seems like they went a different route. But yeah, what exactly was this that Jade witnessed? I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a little more definitive answers as to what exactly happened to the children. It seems like we were left with a little bit more questions than answers after this scene ended. But it's very interesting questions, to say the least. What exactly was happening to these children? What was the purpose? Were they undergoing some sort of ritual? Was it some sort of experiment to kind of open a portal to Fromville? That definitely seems to be the most popular theory at this point, and I'm like much like you, I'm totally cool with that being the theory. Maybe this was how they originally opened a portal to Fromville. Maybe we're seeing the origins of Fromville right here, how it originally opened, how people first started getting sucked into this place. Maybe this is originally how the door first opened.
Right.
Yeah, that could be cool.
I think when you look at it, it's Jade was attracted. He needed to go down there. The first thing that he sees, to Ravener's point, is he doesn't see and I think this is intentional. He doesn't take the same path. He's guided along a different path, and he comes to this room because this is the symbol that's been dominating his mind. Is it the spirits of the children or the representation of these kids that has been putting this into his head? And it's the last thing they saw. It's what's above the sacrificial chamber, quote unquote. It closes that loop. It explains what they've been trying to show him. What's the next question is, why is this important? But it closes that loop. Does it'll end like everything else, man. You get 17 questions for every one that's answered. But and I think I stood out alone after our viewing in the last episode of season 2 that I liked this sequence. I think all the rest of you guys hated it, but I liked that because it did close out the loop.
I like that.
I mean, that's there. Go ahead, guys.
Well, I like the scene. I just don't think it gave any answers, personally. Yes, it establishes that there's a connection between the Ankui kids and the weird children, but beyond that, it didn't really give me anything definitive out of it. But it was an interesting scene nonetheless, and I definitely think they will expand upon it more.
Yeah, I thought it was neat. It was just like, how they say, like, the Ides of March, they've come, but they haven't gone. That's the only thing getting me through on this one is he's in the tunnels. And we saw a little bit of what he saw, but he's not out of the tunnels yet. So I'm hoping that they friggin' do something else while he's down there. We did get the jump scare with that friggin' ventriloquist doll. But other than that, a whole lot of this stuff. And they showed us the symbol, and it was that like, ooh moment. And then what? Nothing. No payoff. There was no payoff for this thing down here.
That was
Yeah.
my only problem. I was expecting a little bit more of a payoff on it, but and it's totally cool that they're setting up a little bit more of a mystery here. I was expecting that too, but yeah, I was expecting a little bit more of a reveal with this scene, I guess.
Yeah, and we haven't got to the when we get to episode 2. You've got I think it's from the Victors when Ethan is talking about his dream and he sees someone
Yes.
looking up and seeing a spider. But
Yep.
I expected
That's
to
coming
see a
up
spider.
Saturday. I can't wait for that.
Right, but I expected to see a spider here, but we didn't see it. But there's spiders in the forest, and then the other thing is that when Jade goes down here, he uses a ball of string to mark his path, which that goes back to the Minotaur and in the labyrinth,
Oh,
where
Yeah.
where Arachne gives whoever it was the
Perseus,
ball
right?
of to the ball of string in order to get out of the labyrinth. And Arachne, of
Okay.
course, that's where we get spider from. So
And that's the giant spider right
yeah.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what's going to be. I don't know, but
Well, that's the thing that there's been so many references to giant spiders in season
Yeah.
1 and in season 2 that it would almost be a disappointment if we don't get one at this point.
right.
They're
Theseus,
certainly
not Perseus.
pointing to it a lot. Yeah.
Theseus, yeah.
Wait, was it Perseus or Theseus?
It was
Theseus or Perseus.
I
think
thought it
might
was
have been
Perseus. I
Theseus.
always get them confused too, man.
I get
It's
those two
Theseus,
mixed up
yeah.
all the time myself. Theseus and Perseus, always.
Theseus.
But then I think Clash of the Titans, Perseus. my dude.
So Medusa,
we got a
Perseus,
we got a what's that?
Minotaur. Medusa, Perseus,
Yes.
Minotaur, Theseus.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
We got
Oh my
a
God.
$10 super chat from Vanessa Milan. Thank you so much for the
Appreciate it.
$10. Incredibly generous of you. Do you think Victor will take anyone to the bottle faraway tree looking for Tabitha, or will he stir them in the wrong direction? Now, that I've been asking myself a lot because I definitely have a feeling Jim. We know that Jim was right there when Tabitha was talking to Victor about going to this bottle tree. So at the very least, Jim knows where Tabitha was heading to. She was going to this bottle tree in hopes of finding a way to the lighthouse. So once enough time goes by and Tabitha doesn't come back, I imagine Jim is probably going to, approach Victor and ask him just that. And that'll be the case. Will Victor actually take Jim to the faraway tree? But then again, Aldous, you brought up a good point that maybe Jim might not want to go himself because he might not want to leave his kids alone. I could totally see that happening, and I could totally see Boyd taking over the role of going to look for Tabitha. Maybe Victor will take Boyd to this bottle tree in season 3, and Boyd will go and look for Tabitha somewhere. And it would be a good setup because Boyd has seen one of these bottle trees before in season 1, so it would be a kind of a fitting for it to be Boyd to return to this bottle tree or this different bottle tree. But yes, I definitely think at some point in season 3, Victor will most likely lead someone to that bottle faraway tree and tell them, this is where I led Tabitha. I mean, it seems like Victor and Tabitha formed a very special bond there towards the end of season 2. He very, very much looks at her like a motherly figure, it seems. So I definitely think Victor is going to want to do everything in his power to help save Tabitha or help bring her back. I definitely think Victor will maybe this will be the act that does get Victor to open up a little bit more and start to help a little bit more, because we have seen how much he just does not want to share information because he's afraid something bad is going to happen. Well, at this point, something bad already did happen as far as they're concerned. Tabitha is gone and they have no idea where she is. So maybe this will be one of the events that gets Victor to help out a little bit more and become a little less cagey with some of that information. But yes, I definitely think he is going to take someone to the bottle faraway tree in season 3. If not Jim, probably Boyd. But yeah, what do you guys think in the chat and on the panel as well? Do you think Victor, or could Victor himself just end up kind of going through the bottle faraway tree himself and going after to look for Tabitha? Maybe that could be a possibility as well. He does it on his own.
I don't think Victor has it in him to leave in that fashion.
I don't think he does until now. He has a stake to leave, though. I feel like he didn't have any reason to leave before because this was his home. But I feel like he formed such an attachment to Tabitha. I feel like if anything would spur him to leave, it would be his kind of connection to her. But then again, you're right. He is pretty attached to this place.
I don't know. I'm tempted to think that no one else will try the lighthouse in season 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I could definitely see that though. I mean, if we're gonna go with the idea, and I'm totally on board with it, that Kramanakal was right with his theory that that the slips of paper in the bottles are the key to traveling
Play a
to different
part.
time periods. That I mean, having Victor take who's maybe Randall, maybe I don't want Randall already had his day in the sun though, I think, in this last couple episodes. So I mean, not Dale. I'm trying to think who they would use to maybe Kenny. Maybe they'll send Kenny off to Wild West 1888. And and there was a little bit of heat with the Chinese back then too. I mean, they were really treated, just like what we saw with Deadwood, kind of like a strange racial dynamic back then. In 1888 with the Chinese.
I can't say Mr. Wu's favorite English phrase.
I know, Mr. Wu. Yeah, Deadwood was a really good show. I mean, I suppose anything's possible. I feel like that's. I guess anything's possible with this show. They've thrown so much trippy stuff at us at this point. I guess there's really nothing off the table at this point. Even Kenny traveling to Wild Wild West times, I guess. Yeah, there's so many places this thing could go. I don't see it happening personally. When I think about these other time periods, that's something that I hope that they would potentially save for potential spin-offs down the road. I don't really want to see them visit other time periods on this series. I would love to see that be on some spin-offs. I would love to see this one kind of stay contained to this time period. I wouldn't mind seeing flashbacks to some of those other time periods to reveal some origins of things and to get some answers. But in terms of the characters actually time traveling, I really don't want that to go this route. Personally,
they could go through and vanish and just be gone. I mean, it would be the equivalent of killing them without killing them, kind of. But they could always bring them back at some point. So yeah, I mean, I'm and again, I mean, I'm going way too far down, somebody else's theory, how far it could go. But yeah, I mean, it would be removing them from the show without actually killing them. Although I think we're about due for another good killing, to be honest.
We didn't really lose anybody in season 2. Yeah, there was no real major character deaths beyond Smiley and the bartender.
And Matthias, nobody knew who Matthias.
Nobody. Yeah, that's very much an extra. Almost.
Yeah, didn't know he had a name, right? And nobody knew he had a name until they said his name. Matthias, go to that isolated shack and stand there and wait for your neck to be cut.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
There's a lot of places they're going to go with it, but I definitely think the deaths need to be a little bit heavier in season 3. In season 1, there was some really good main character deaths that happened, and at some really tragic moments too. Like the Father Cautry's death comes to mind, which was probably the most tragic in season 1, and he was very much a main character that I thought was going to have a bigger part to play down the road, and boom, it just goes to show that nobody is really safe on Fromville. But yeah, I definitely think season 3 needs to come with a little bit more gore and a lot more monster action. It seems like the monsters started to take a little bit of a back seat to the entity, especially in the back half of season 2, which is totally okay. Of course, the entity started to kind of present itself as the biggest threat to the town, so they really had to deal with this nightmare entity. So I totally understand why the monsters kind of took a little bit of a back seat towards the end of season 2. But I definitely don't want the show to ever get to a point where the monsters are kind of rendered just useless or just rendered as background noise. The monsters should always be a clear and scary present danger, and I hope season 3 we get a little bit more monster action and definitely some more character deaths for sure, and amp up the stakes a little bit. Let's see what the chat is saying a little bit. Jim should stay away because of Tabitha's dream. Yeah, that's right as well. We saw in Tabitha's vision when she first travels to the tower. She gets to the top of the tower, and what she finds is Jim strung up like a Christmas turkey there, upside down and screaming. And it definitely does not look like he is having a fun time, to say the least. Where is he? There he is. Good old Jim, just hanging there, screaming. So yeah, maybe Jim isn't the best candidate to go look for Tabitha. I think that is probably best suited for Boyd. Yeah. Jerry O'Brien says it's all a game and each character has different paths and abilities. And it definitely seems like we are seeing almost like each each character or certain characters are being put through sort of tests and trials,
Right.
so to speak. And I know a lot of you guys have been pointing that as well. And we definitely see a lot of that.
Yep. Well, and going back to what Ravener was talking about an hour ago was, you kind of get tired of certain things. And
Yeah.
I'm tired of the simulation thing, especially after a
I
lot of
hope
the
it's not a
shows that we've
sim.
had.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping is it's some kind of trial, and it's
Mhm.
not a simulation. It's just actual metaphysical trials that these people have to go through that put them in ethical and moral quandaries.
Hmm.
Boyd, nobody kicked the rope down. The system kicked Boyd the rope down. The circumstance, because Boyd made the right choice and he got the
Ah.
rope. And I think it's things like that that are occurring. And as choices are made, different avenues open up and other avenues close. What's the long-standing overarching reason for that? No clue. But that's just kind of what my take on it is at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think
And
that.
sorry, go
I,
ahead.
I think I forget where I saw this somewhere else too, but I think the two factions feed on different emotions. So the one that the monsters are feeds on fear
The entity
and
on hope.
terror. Yeah, right. Or well, the boy in white on hope. So fear
Maybe, yeah.
for the entity, and then the boy in white faction
Right.
is more hope, and they're using people in order to feed that.
Yeah, they certainly could be. It's like you said, the fear. Certainly in the monsters' case, it definitely seems like the monsters want their victims. They don't just want them dead. They want them afraid. They want to torture them. They want you. They want you
Right.
scared. Almost like they need that
it.
fear. Like
Yeah.
it. Like it
Yeah.
literally kind of feeds on people's fear, and it becomes more powerful the more people it scares. Maybe there's some sort of aspect of that where the monsters kind of need that fear to feed on. And yeah, maybe the boy in white feeds on other emotions, and the entity feeds on a different emotion. Maybe that definitely could be the case.
That's an interesting take, Snug. I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
That feeds into a little bit more of the Kingian aspects of this at times.
Mm-hmm.
With people, if you make a bad decision, it doesn't necessarily affect you. You pay for it, but it affects the people around you, as we saw in episode 1,
yeah.
season 1.
Yeah. Interesting.
Same thing with Jim. Jim puts up the tower, and then Ethan almost gets hurt by the exploding
Ethan
light
almost
bulb.
dies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tabitha falls through
Right.
her roof, her
Right.
floor and
It's the
shit.
action. Your actions don't directly impact you. I mean, they do,
Yeah.
but they always have ramifications for the immediate people that you love and care for.
Mhm.
Same thing with
Okay.
Sarah. Sarah didn't listen to what the voice was telling her, so what happens? Nathan dies.
Nathan dies. Yeah,
Mhm.
and that does tend to happen. There is
Yeah.
a theme there where you see someone do something either stupid or whatever the case is. It's usually 9 times out of 10, it's not going to get that person killed. It's going to get people around them killed, and we are seeing a little bit of
Mhm.
that play out. Now, this was an interesting thing that I noticed when we were watching the finale, and I know a lot of you witnessed it as well, just like Scarlet Fever, I think, witnessed it as well. Was Jade not in the same room Victor and Tabitha were in with the creepy doll in it? No, he wasn't. And I thought that was a very interesting change. The very first time that we see this creepy doll, it's actually sitting on top of a dresser in a totally different part of the caves that Tabitha and Victor were in. Next time we see the doll, it's here and it's all dirty, it's scuffed up. The doll was nowhere near this dirty and this scuffed up the first time we saw it. So yeah, that was a very interesting change there. How exactly did this doll move? I have no clue. Was it just a production error, or they just kind of wanted to throw this doll in there and just kind of threw it anywhere, maybe? But yeah, the first time we see the doll, it's kind of sitting on what looks to be an old dresser of sorts, and this time we see it just sitting on a random rock, and it seems to be much more scuffed up. I'm not sure what that is indicating, but there's definitely a change there. The doll is definitely in a different spot this time. Not sure what that means. I am not sure what that means.
Oh yeah, and those things move on their own too. They don't.
Mhm.
Creepy
Nobody-
possessed doll. I hope we're not going into Chucky territory. Please,
Right.
please,
Well,
no.
Chucky's not where my brain went, man. When you're talking about a marionette doll like that, if you've got kids, it was the Mr. I can't remember his name, Mr. something from Goosebumps, the Goosebumps movie.
Oh yes, you're right. Yeah, the Goosebumps doll there. Yeah, it does look just like that doll. Now that I think of it, you're right. Yeah, shit. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Why the doll was in a different spot this time? It's pretty puzzling. It is pretty puzzling. It is pretty puzzling. Can we all agree that the show needs to step up the brutal, murderous gore? Absolutely.
Yes,
No, that
yes.
was one thing I was a little disappointed with in season 2. Season 1 had a ton of gore and blood and death, and it was really the show really kind of nailed home the fact very early on. Hell, in the very first scene, actually, you know what the stakes are. That even children can get ripped apart and slaughtered in this world. So the gore
Right.
and the kind of murderous factor was very prevalent in season 1. In season 2, we didn't get really a lot of that. Hopefully they dive more into that in season 3.
Right. And Scarlet Fever corrected me in the chat. That's why I love our chat. They're always right on it.
Chat's the
Slappy.
best.
Slappy was the name of the marionette doll in Goosebumps.
Ah,
So,
Slappy. Okay, that was his name. Yeah, I remember I remember what the doll looks like. I definitely didn't remember its name though. So thank you for that. And yeah, the chat is the best. Is the best. Jade dropped the twine he was holding too. He was going to have to continue through the caves. Yeah, yeah. When he gets to the Ankui children, he kind of drops that twine there. Luckily, he doesn't go any further, so he's able to find his way out. But yeah, it's pretty puzzling to see how or why this doll is in a different spot this time. And Jade did in fact have a vision of this doll once before. We remember a few episodes back. Jade's sitting there and he's actually rolling up the last of his cannabis. He's getting ready to smoke his final joint. And he has a vision of this doll and it kind of screams at him. And Jade screams right back at it. It was a very funny scene. But yeah, what exactly is this doll? What is it going to represent? I have a feeling, and I know we've talked about this on the channel before, but I get the feeling that this doll could potentially have belonged to Christopher. Now, we see Christopher in season 2 was the guy that was getting the visions in the visions of the symbol before Jade. And it seems like Christopher definitely had some sort of hand in the massacre back when Victor was a child, because according to Victor's mother comes up to him the night of the massacre or the day before the massacre and says, go and find somewhere to hide where Christopher can't find you, indicating that Christopher maybe had gone dark or had been influenced by some sort of malignant force, and clearly Victor became a threat. I mean, not Victor, clearly Christopher became a threat at some point. But at one point we hear Victor say that Christopher was a nice guy for all intents and purposes, and he was one of the few people that could make people laugh back then, which was not easy to do apparently. And as soon as I heard that, I thought maybe this was how Christopher got people to laugh. Maybe this ventriloquist was his dummy. Maybe that's what he did to kind of entertain the town back in the day. And maybe that's why it scared the heck out of Victor so much when he saw it that first time down in the caves. Maybe Victor saw this doll and it immediately reminded him of Christopher. That was just my kind of quick little tinfoil hat theory. I'm getting a feeling that this belongs to Christopher, but who knows at this point. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the chat as well. What is up with this freaking weird doll?
Yeah, I think you've got to be pretty close to right on with that. Because I mean, yes, dolls are creepy, or ventriloquist dolls are always, generally always creepy. I think because their eyes are always big and like round, which is like in our lizard brain.
It's like Jaws, like that one scene from Jaws. It's the black eyes, lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, crazy people, like even when we see like politicians and celebrities and stuff, when they have those big circle eyes where you can see all the whites around them, they're or like mostly on like TikTok and social media, you see these people doing like filming from their car and their eyes are big and round. You're like, oh man, here comes some craziness, and it's never a good thing. So I think viscerally we know that and even Victor with zero social interaction for 30 years knows that there's something wrong with people with eyes like that. And that's coming from a dude that buttons his top button. So
yeah.
Won't let that one go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's keep bringing it up. I love it. We possibly get equal murder and gore from the bus victims, but just remember, in order for gore to happen, a porn stash gotta exist, or someone stupid gotta just walk outside. Yeah, that definitely was happening in season 1, especially where the Colony House massacre was. But speaking of the number of deaths on From, I'm glad that reminded me of this, that I wanted to highlight here from one of our chatters that comments on some of our videos and always has some really interesting theories as well. NicoBa 2007. Now, Nico went out and did some incredibly extensive and really, really good work that even I didn't know about this. Now, apparently, there has been the exact number of people who have died in Fromville. There has been the exact number of new arrivals in the town, down to the letter. Now, and this was pretty interesting. I didn't know this myself, but Nico went and did some really extensive work here, and I just wanted to highlight this real quick, and definitely let me know what you guys think about this in the chat and on the panel as well. It starts off, Fromville has kept consistent the number of inhabitants through seasons 1 and 2, arrivals and dead in chronological order. 2 die, Lauren and Megan, Frank's wife and the daughter, the first death that we ever see on the series in season 1, episode 1. Then 6 arrive, Jim, Tabitha, Julie, Ethan, Jade, and Toby. The 6 that arrive in the very beginning, the first time that there has been 2 cars that have arrived in a very long time. Then 5 die. Toby dies, Kenny's father, and the caretaker, the other kind of nurse that was at the clinic in season 1, she also died. Frank and Nathan, Sarah's sister. So we got 5 deaths right there. 15 die. 14 at the Colony House, 14 Colony House residents, plus Father Cartry being the 15th. And then in season 2, we have 25 people arrive on the bus. 6 die right off the rip, 5 from the bus, Brian, Kelly, the couple hiding in the bus, and the guy who dies in the collapsed Matthews house, plus Tom, the bartender. 3 die, Paula, Matthias, and Reggie. Total, 31 arrived, 31 dead. That cannot be a coincidence. I know we've been theorizing for so long that it seems like when people die in Fromville, they kind of replenish the town supply, for lack of better terms. And this is just pointing to that fact that much more. It seems like whenever someone dies in Fromville, they kind of replenish the ranks and bring some new blood in. This was some really interesting work from Nico. I wanted to highlight this. And let me know what you guys think on the panel and on the chat about this. It seems like Fromville is kind of keeping a certain level, certain number of residents always in the town. They kind of, maybe they don't want to go below a certain number. Who knows?
So is he missing the guy that hung himself, as Bitey points out?
Oh, Eric hung himself. Yes, that's right. Eric hung himself. Yep. We see the guy that commits suicide in season 1, the one guy that hangs himself. Yes, although that could potentially even out with the one missing person from the 25 on the bus. Remember, we find out when Donna does the math, there's 3 missing people unaccounted for: Brian and Kelly, and the one missing person that we still have no idea who it is.
So I thought that was Elgin.
I have to imagine they probably already accounted for Elgin. He was a part of the town at that point.
But if I got to figure out when they were counting, because that was when Elgin was running away. Remember when Elgin showed up right behind Boyd?
That was the next morning when Boyd and Elgin arrived back in town, because Donna was talking to Boyd when she was giving that accounting, and Boyd was with Elgin when they both arrived. That next day.
Okay.
So there's one missing person unaccounted for that we never quite know what happened to from the bus. Maybe that could be the other one, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Eric did hang himself in season 1, so there's that one death that isn't accounted for there. But even with the
since he did it himself, it doesn't count.
Maybe who knows? But even if it is just one off, it's very telling. It definitely seems like there is some sort of theme going on where when certain number of people die in the town, something or someone will kind of replenish the ranks, so to speak. And I know that's been a running theme, a running theory for a while. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. That was some really good work by Nico. Awesome stuff. But yeah, who knows what it could mean? Could there potentially be, maybe whatever entity is, or whatever being, or for lack of a better term, whatever is pulling these people into Fromville, maybe it just needs a certain amount of people in the town at all times. It just doesn't want the town to ever be too depleted. Maybe if some of these beings are feeding on people's fears and emotions and stuff like that, then it would stand to reason that you would want as much people in the town as possible. You would always want, at the very least, a steady, supply of people coming into the town when others die, if you need their kind of fear and other emotions to kind of feed off. So that could make sense. That could make sense. Bruce says the place is balancing itself. It needs to give a population and specific characters to be here for specific reasons / roles. And I definitely think there's an aspect to that as well. I don't think it's just bringing random people here into this town. I think the people that get sucked into this town or get trapped in Fromville, it's bringing specific people here for a specific reason. I definitely think that is going on. I don't think it's just random. So y'all are playing so my dog doesn't hear fireworks. I am right there with you, Steph Snow. There are I'm surprised you guys, I mean, if you guys hear any of the loud banging in the background, that's probably what it is. There are tons of fireworks being let off in my area right now. And yeah, my dog is just absolutely petrified of them. The dog is under the table right here hanging out with me, just stiff as a board. Aren't you, Oberyn?
It ain't even 10 o'clock here yet, so I got 2 more hours of it. I thought you guys were picking it up on mine, so you guys must be picking it up on yours.
No,
your own everybody's house. Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's 10 minutes before midnight is like prime time. People lighting fireworks. So at least in my area, I'm on the East Coast. So yeah, it's if you hear it, don't be too surprised if you hear it. It's they've been lighting them off all day here.
This image does make me think that we did get the 7. We did get the 7 kids, but we didn't get the 4. And so I don't know whether the 4 maybe means the 4 people that we've seen chained up. I don't know. That doesn't seem very satisfying.
3 chained up plus Tabitha.
Okay.
Or 3 chained up plus Paula, the one victim maybe. Or Martin, 3 chained up plus Martin. Maybe Martin's even the 4th. Or Boyd. Boyd was the original kind of holder. Boyd was the one who kind of cracked this whole thing open by freeing the entity in the first place. That's the thing. We saw a lot of the 47 4s and 7s being thrown at us. We're still not quite sure what that is going to lead to. There's so much stuff that we still need answers for. And of course, we still need to find out what Tilly's ultimate end game is, because I know Fanny Pat Granny is up to something. She's pointing the finger of scorn for a reason. She is up to something. She is sus, and I don't trust her.
Although she was real quiet the last couple episodes.
Yeah, we didn't see her at all, man.
They said she had 7 people in her little prayer group, which is weird.
Yeah, 7 people in her little prayer group. We hear her talk about how she has 4 kids and 7 grandkids.
In the circle, just like the kids in the
circle, like the Kui kids. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's funny too. As soon as Donna sees that circle, that's exactly when she goes to Matthias and says, "All right, we better lock the guns up ASAP. We don't need no Jonestown fucking massacre going on here." Oh shit. But yeah, there's just so many questions that still need to be answered. And I brought this up the other day. I don't believe you were here, Aldous, but I remember you were the one who found this. And we've been trying to find the author of this ever since, or the creator of this ever since. When we found it online, it didn't have any credits as to who actually created this. But this is really cool. It's an exact kind of scale model of the town of Fromville, kind of Beetlejuice style, as it were. So I thought this was really cool.
It was really cool. I found it in the From. I saw it online, and then it showed up in the From Facebook book group, and it was just too cool not to share. It's awesome. As a guy that does model railroading every once in a while and plays like tabletop war games still a little bit with the kids, this is just, it looks great. Great work.
Yeah, it does. This looks awesome. That's why if there's ever anybody in the chat that knows who created this thing, definitely get in touch with me and let me know. I would love to know who created this. I would love to give them proper credit for it, and maybe even get them on the show at some point and talk to them about this, because this is just so freaking cool, man. I love stuff like this. So yeah, if anyone ever finds out who created this thing, definitely let me know, either through YouTube or through Twitter. I'm always available. But yeah, awesome stuff indeed. Let's see what the chat is saying a little bit, see what you guys are getting into down here. And then we will continue on our journey of predicting what is going to happen on season 3. How many years did it take the town to replace the massacre? Now that's a good question as well. We see when Victor was a child, just about the entire population of the town was decimated. Victor was the only one left, and it seems like it was decades before the town was kind of fully repopularized, because we see Donna. At least as far as we know, Donna has been there the second longest after Victor, and Donna has been there for around 3.5 years. So if Donna was the second arrival after that massacre, that means the town was pretty bare and empty for decades before the next arrival came. Or the other possibility is there have been plenty of other arrivals in between the massacre and Donna, but they all have subsequently been killed off in the time since they arrived. Maybe there was a whole other generation in between Victor's generation and when the Matthews family arrived that kind of all just got killed off. Or maybe Victor was just alone for that long until the next arrival came in Donna, 35 plus years later. It's hard to tell, but it definitely seems like Victor was on his own for a very long time before the town got populated again. If Donna wasn't the next arrival, it seems like he was definitely on his own for a while before another arrival came around. But no clue how many years it actually took. That is a good question indeed. Let's see what else we got. One monster died. Need one to replace it. Oh yeah, there's an interesting thing. We saw one monster actually die. Smiley gets killed. Is there going to be some sort of replacement for that? If the show is kind of maintaining some sort of balance, who knows? Maybe. Anyone notice the Black Civil War soldier that attacked Jade looks like Boyd? I did myself. I remember seeing the Civil War soldier. I don't remember him looking too much like Boyd, but I'll have to go back and take a look. But yeah, there's some weird, trippy stuff going on there in terms of that Civil War era. We see that 1864 date pop up 2 other times. We see 1864, of course, is one of the dates in Tabitha's vision of the spiral staircase. And of course, 1864 is the date that Boyd finds inside his bottle that he knocks down out of the bottle tree. So there is a lot of signs pointing to that Civil War 1864, 1865 type era. And I have a feeling it's probably going to come into play at some point. That's why I would really like to see some flashbacks at some point. Would be cool. Really would be cool. It really would be cool. Did Eric hang himself because of severe depression, or because he thought that they way to get out of Fromland? Interesting question indeed. I mean, the way that it comes off in season 1, they kind of make it seem like it's just depression. But then again, we hear Christy. Christy was kind of friends with Eric, or she was close with him because he had celiac disease, so he was at the clinic often. So Christy was kind of close to him, and he was just kind of chipper a day before, or someone else was saying. But when we see him arrive at the police station, he definitely looked a little bit somber. He did have like a kind of depressive look on his face. So it could have just been depression, or who knows? Maybe it was something else. Because that, of course, is another running theme. And I guess we can segue over to Tabitha right now and what happened with her. Now, a lot of people seem to think that they might find Tabitha's body at the bottom of this lighthouse, and that really the only way to get out of Fromville is to die inside there, that maybe Abby was right this whole time. And I suppose that's possible. I mean, it definitely, there is some evidence for that, for what we see here. I mean, nobody could survive a fall out of a tower that high. But definitely let me know what you guys think on the panel and in the chat as well. Do you think Abby could have been onto something? Do you need to die in Fromville to make it back to the real world? Or is there something else going on a little bit here with Tabitha? Did Tabitha maybe fall through some sort of portal or something?
But didn't they say, like, at least Abby say through Sarah that I was wrong, right, when they were out in the forest, right?
Yes, we hear Abby say, I was wrong. Tell Boyd I was wrong, and to go back to town. There's worse things out here than the monsters. Indicating that, she was wrong about this being one dream that people need to just wake up from.
But could that be misdirection? Because when she appears in the RV, or when she appears in the cave at the end, she's trying to get Boyd to not smash the music box.
Right.
Okay, a manipulation tactic maybe to okay, I could see that.
See, and I thought they were entirely different. I thought the Abby in the web was probably closer to the real Abby, and then the one that was in the RV trying to influence him otherwise. They're like the last 2 times that she showed up, it's almost like the evil entity or whatever had realized that Boyd was going to listen to her, so he took on the entity, whatever it was, it took on Abby's form. Somebody also mentioned that she kind of flickered with the lights, almost like she was a hologram.
She did. She did.
Yeah.
When she appears in the RV in particular, when the lights flicker, she flickers right along with it. Yeah,
Mhm.
that does
It
happen.
could be both. It could be both of those could be the case.
And Jesse points out another connection to the 47. There is also 47 years in between the last two dates that Tabitha sees, the 1978 date and the 1931 dates that are in her vision. Yeah, 47-year difference in between those two dates. So yeah, there's another reference to the 47. Good pick up on that, Jesse. Very good catch. Very good catch indeed. Fatima brought weed. Tilly brought morphine. Yeah, you can have a party there if you want. There's some party favors to be had. That is true. That is true. What style is Colony House? That's what I was wondering too. It almost looks a little Victorian era in its construction. I'm not a huge expert on Victorian era modeling and construction, but just based off the little bit I do know, it looks like it's a little bit more of a Victorian era type of house, at least in some of the construction design that I'm seeing.
Yeah, definitely earlier because it was lath and plaster, and
Yeah.
you did notice that right up in Victor's room where the
yes, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man, yeah, I definitely think it's. Clearly there's parts of this place that are much older than some of the others. We see the diner and some of the houses in town definitely look a little bit more modern, like they could have been built in, the 50s, 60s era, maybe around there. But then we see structures like Father Cautry's church, which is clearly a much, much older structure. You can tell that is closer to a Victorian era, maybe Civil War era style of construction with stones like that. So there are multiple different kind of time periods here where we're seeing, buildings like Father Cautry's is much, much older than the houses in the town. And yeah, Colony Houses, it definitely looks like it could easily be from a Victorian era, easily. But yeah, it's hard to tell. And it's hard to tell. Ooh, Coco sent an email to me about the mini Fromville model. Awesome, Coco. I will take a look at that as soon as the stream ends. Thank you, Coco. And we will bring that up on Thursday's show, on Thursday's episode of Fromville. Thank you. I will definitely check that out as soon as we end here.
Wait, we're doing a show on Thursday? 2 days from now?
Well, yeah, we usually do Fromville Hour every Thursday. Last week was day one.
Okay.
I think there might have been a group or more that are no longer there. Yeah, that's the question. Was Victor just completely on his own that whole time in between the massacre and Donna arriving, or were there other generations that arrived in between those two times that kind of subsequently just all got killed off, and Victor's kind of the only survivor of not one generation but two? I could definitely see that being the case. I definitely think he was on his own for a while, but if he was on his own until Donna arrived, then that means he was on his own for the better part of 35 plus years, which is just absolutely insane for someone to survive that long by themselves in a place like this. I know he had the boy in white to kind of help him survive, but it didn't seem like the boy in white stuck around for a long time. It seems like when Victor got older, the boy in white kind of disappeared, because when the boy in white returns at the beginning of season 1 and Ethan mentions the boy in white, Victor says that he hasn't seen him in a long time, that the last time that the boy in white was around, something bad happened, indicating that the boy in white being back was a sign to Victor, at least, that there was some bad things around the corner. But it's hard to tell. I mean, maybe it's something we could get some flashbacks to at some point. Maybe we can get some flashbacks as to when Victor was in the town back then. Maybe there were some other arrivals in between then, but until then, we don't really know. As far as we do know, Donna has been there the second longest, and she's only been there for around 3.5 years. How many graves did Victor dig? He knows what's about to happen. Yes, that is true. We saw Victor digging a ton of graves in season 1 before the Colony House massacre. I don't exactly know how many graves he was digging. I do believe I have that photo here somewhere, though. I can take a look. But yeah, Victor was digging quite a good amount of graves. Maybe it was 7. Who knows? Maybe it was more. Maybe it was less. I'll have to go back and check. Or if anyone in the chat knows, definitely let me know.
I should have. I mean, that seems like one of those things that I should have jotted down.
I know I have that picture somewhere.
That's when Donna came running out, and she's like, Knock it off.
Yeah.
You're freaking people out.
You're freaking people out, Victor. Just getting a head start this time. Damn, we're getting a head start on what, son? Shit. What do you know that we don't? But yeah, it definitely seemed like Victor, at the very least, he knew that something bad was about to happen because he saw all the signs. And he kind of explains that a little bit, not too much, but Victor could kind of tell. He could see the signs that something bad was about to come. First, 2 cars arrived. Then the boy in white kind of shows back up again. All of these signs kind of told Victor that something big was coming, that something bad was going to be happening again. So he went out and dug those graves as a result. But yeah, he was definitely seeing the signs before it happened. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see 6 graves that I could see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, he's digging. There's 6 graves. There's 5 already dug, and he is in the 6th one digging right now. So there is 6 graves that Victor dug in that scene. So close to 7, but just 6. But yeah, who knows? There were others before Donna. Victor has drawings of them in his truck. And Victor even said that there were cars there before even Victor arrived. We hear Victor say at some point in season 2 that he got rid of all the cars in town. He just didn't want to see the cars anymore. So he kind of moved them off into the woods. But he also says that there were other cars already there before he moved those cars, indicating that there were at least a few generations that arrived before even Victor arrived there. So whatever is happening here in this town, I do get the sense that it's been going on for a very, very long time. Because yeah, there were cars there, abandoned cars there, even before Victor showed up. So yeah, that is definitely true. Definitely true. Victor was completely alone as a human in Fromville for a very long time period, no doubt. And I definitely think that's the case. Regardless of how long it was been, whether Donna was the next arrival or whether there were some other arrivals in between, regardless, Victor was definitely on his own for a very long time. You can just tell by how damaged he is. He's suffering a lot of kind of PTSD, and I think being alone for a very extended amount of time probably plays into that, along with everything else, him failing to protect his sister and all that other jazz. Definitely seems like him being alone for so long definitely played a part in shaping, how he is today. Who initially brought all those peaches? Yeah, exactly. How did all of these peaches get there? And it seemed like, 40 plus years of peaches. Victor had been eating peaches for 40 freaking years before they ended up, running out. Who the heck brought all these peaches to Fromville? That's a good question. How did these peaches get there, and why? And how did they last so long? 40 freaking years of peaches is insane.
Yeah, his truck was it was a canned goods truck, I guess. So I think, but obviously he must have given it all to Donna, or either people from Colony House knew about it and took it all, or he voluntarily gave it to them. They allowed him to keep the truck, but he didn't get to keep all the peaches because he still had Donna like doling them out to him, or to an extent. He didn't just keep them all to himself or keep the entire canned goods truck to himself.
Yeah, it's because he almost it almost seemed like he didn't want to get in trouble there for going and grabbing the peaches without asking Donna. Yeah, so it seems like the peaches were kind of Victor's reward every once in a while, I guess. Who knows?
Yeah, but 40-year-old green beans, man, that must not be too great.
Yeah, that's probably not as good as 40-year-old peaches, I would imagine. Oh my God, what if Kelly's boyfriend gets transformed into the monster to replace Smiley? I'm not sure they ever found his body, Brian. And no, that's another thing that just never really came up. We see that Kelly is impaled to this tree, and she's telling Kenny and Ellis how the monsters kind of made her watch what they did to Brian, but we never actually see Brian's body. We never actually see what happened to Brian. So yeah, that's another question that just remains to be seen, and I don't know if we'll ever get an answer to that one. Personally, I think maybe as an audience we're just meant to believe that the monsters killed Brian in a very hideous way and they made her watch. Maybe it's just that simple, or who knows, maybe there's something more there. I guess either could be possible for sure. Either could be possible. I would like to know more about the church building in town as well. Has Jade been to the church yet? Something about that building I can't put my finger on. Yeah, the church building definitely seems much older than the rest of the buildings. And to my recollection, I don't think we have seen Jade there yet. I don't think Jade's been in the church, actually. And definitely let me know if I am wrong in the comment section or if anyone remembers differently on the panel. But I don't remember Jade ever going into the church myself.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't remember that.
recall him going in, other maybe for a brief exchange with Father Katri, but that's part of the reason why we're doing the season 1 rewatch. Is this
Yeah.
is you're picking up on all that stuff before, and the questions that you're asking are going to be a little bit more influenced by what we've seen, so you're going to catch more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what's been so fun. Yeah, I really am looking forward to this Saturday when we're going to watch episode 2 of season 1, and in particular in episode 2 is when Ethan wakes up and recounts his story, well, his dream that he has about the Lake of Tears and all of the other weird stuff that he sees. So I'm really looking forward to dissecting that a little bit more with everyone. So yeah, this Saturday we will be doing episode 2 of season 1, the official live watch party starting right here at 10 p.m. Eastern. So definitely do not miss that. It is going to be a blast. The season 1 rewatch was a really, really fun time last week. I'm really looking forward to episode 2. And just on a more personal note, I loved season 1. I really love season 2 as well. Don't get me wrong. But season 1 is definitely I definitely prefer season 1 to season 2. It was definitely my favorite season so far. But so I'm really looking forward to going back and seeing what else we can maybe discover. So
yeah, I mean, that was the season that made us love this show.
That's what made us all fall in love with it. That first season there. Yeah. No, exactly. Yes, those were just phantoms manipulating Boyd. Yeah, maybe. I have a feeling there's some family lineage because how did Back to Granny know the song? The bus driver lady. How did she know the song? Or how if that's what you're referring to? Yeah, there's got to be some kind of connection there if that's what you mean. We see the nursery rhyme that becomes kind of important towards the back half of season 2, and the bus driver instantly recognized it as a old nursery rhyme that her grandmother used to tell her. So yeah, maybe there is some kind of connection there. Could be onto something, and maybe we'll see that explored a little bit more. I get the feeling the bus driver character will probably be explored a little bit more in season 3. We didn't really learn a whole lot about her character in season 2. She didn't get a whole lot of screen time, so I'm hoping we get a little bit more from her in season 3.
Yeah, I like her. I'd like to see more of her.
Yeah, I liked her. She was cool. I like the scene that one of my favorite scenes from season 2 actually was the scene from her and Jade when they're in the bar together. That's a really good scene between those two. So yeah, it's going to be good to see that. It's going to be good to see that.
Yeah,
but speaking of,
between that scene and then giving her the not necessarily pivotal, but definitely a supporting part about the nursery rhyme. That's an old nursery rhyme. They're not done with her, definitely not. But they just had so many people that they had to give a line to, almost to the point where I think that's part of why Jade's storyline was cut short in the caves, is because they had so much to deal with and try to leave hanging in those last 2 episodes. But I'm sorry. Continuing on. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. From means origin. Yeah, and that's another thing. What exactly, what are they trying to tell us with from? What is the origin of this from place? What is the origin of Fromville? Let's see what else we got here. Now, one thing I was wondering here was, speaking of some of the bus driver characters, is our good pal Randall here. And definitely let me know down in the comment section and on the panel what you guys think as well. Now, what role do you guys see Randall playing on the show going forward? Now, we saw Randall in season 2. He very much was the kind of pessimistic character who the wild card, as it were. He was definitely the wild card of season 2. But now, after Randall has been through everything that he's been through, now that he's gotten more than a taste of what Fromville really is, how dangerous this place really is, could we potentially see a different Randall in season 3? Could we potentially see the beginnings of a redemption arc for Randall in season 3. Maybe we see him becoming a little bit more of a prominent character. Someone in the comment section predicted that they think Randall is going to become a deputy in season 3, one of Boyd's deputies, and that's quite the 180 turnaround right there from the character that he was in season 2 to becoming a reliable kind of deputy in season 3. I could totally see that happening. I do hope Randall has some sort of redemption arc. He's got a lot to redeem, that's for sure. He made a lot of mistakes, but what kind of role do you guys see Randall having in season 3? Definitely let me know on the panel and on the chat as well. Where do you think he is going to be going?
I mean, if they wanted to make him change, I mean, if they wanted to give him a personality change, this would be his trial by fire. I mean, so that would be the crucible from which a better man is forged, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. Either he gets with the program and straightens up a bit, has a little bit of a epiphany about what he should be doing there, or they kill him off because he's kind of served his purpose to a certain extent.
Could be, yeah, it could be. Maybe he's not long for this world. What about you, Aldous? Where do you see Randall's story going in 3?
I don't think Randall's gonna do much.
Okay.
I think he's not a filler character, but he's just a piece on the board that's being maneuvered. Similar to Kenny's mom plays a similar role in a different vein, right? She's the supportive build up, kind of the sounding board. People go to her for expositionary talk that's going to help them along their way. Randall's the opposite. He's conflict in that equation. So he's interjecting himself, and then you're going to get exposition or the plot moving along through the conflict with Randall. So he's a turning point, a pinch point. I don't think he's going to have any lasting meaning, if at all. He'll probably be one of the first ones to go.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. I like
Try
it.
to
I like it.
redeem him a little bit, just to the point where people could tolerate him and then kill him.
Or maybe that's how he redeems himself. He redeems himself by kind of sacrificing himself for someone else. That's his redemption right there, where he gets killed off and gets a little redemption all in the one go, maybe. Yeah, I could see either. I could definitely see it going either way. I could totally see him becoming a maybe more reliable character that sticks around for a little bit longer with a nice redemption arc. But then again, yeah, maybe they just kind of kill him off because his role is kind of over at this point. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the same thing goes for the druggy fiance.
Bari?
Oh yeah, she's even worse. Yeah, she's got less potential than Randall, I think. So there you go, Bruce Lee. You want predictions for season 3? Don't put a whole lot of stock in Marielle and Randall's plot lines.
Right.
Well, and the bus driver, I think, is more interesting than either of those characters.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You had, when she first comes in, she's an absolute force of conflict. Arguing, obviously, she can't believe the room she's
very
in.
Confident in her beliefs that this is not really happening and stuff. Yeah.
And then she takes a huge step back. She remembers the nursery rhyme, and those are really, other than where she discovers the old couple that gets slaughtered on the bus, which we never see, interestingly enough. You don't see the gore or the gruesome aspects of how bad that was. You don't really see her. So I think that was a minor setup that she's, and this isn't interesting. That's a good setup if something's going to happen to Kenny's mom, that she can replace that role.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
If you're going to do it, I mean that's setting her up in that advisory role
in a similar light. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I definitely hope they give her a little bit more to do in season 3. They need to peel back the layers of that character a little bit more. They didn't like you said. This is a big ensemble cast, so there's only so much screen time they can give every character per episode per season. But yeah, I expect they'll probably dive into the bus driver's character a little bit more in season 3 because there's some interesting stuff there that I think we could discover. The chat is saying, Doc Hayes is saying, I think Randall will get with the program now. That was kind of my first initial thought. It's like, Randall came in here like full of piss and vinegar, and he really kind of got his own pie served in his face, for lack of better terms. And maybe this will be the one kind of big wake-up call that Randall needed to get with the program. Or who knows, maybe he'll wake up and it'll just be more of the same. Maybe a tiger can't change their stripes at the end of the day. Who knows?
Yeah, I know some of the girls were saying that they want Randall for the eye candy. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I guess
Really?
yeah,
That's fine.
you
That's
don't really
fine.
have. I guess I mean
Really?
I've seen people calling him like the budget Chris Evans, and I kind of
Okay.
see that. But I mean,
Budget
what do we
Chris
got? We've got yeah, we had Christy got her hair chopped off, and you know, they keep saying Julie is 16. Guys, Julie is 16 in the show. Her character is 16. She's 16. You know, so it's like, well, okay, well, what do we got then? Tabitha, and that's it.
Hey, Tabitha,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Jeremy and I were joking about this, watching a little bit of Silo. Like Rebecca Ferguson's almost 40, but man, I'm in my early 40s, and she looks hot. It's like it's that moment when things
Yeah,
kind of
she's
change
beautiful.
and things start shifting, and that older lady starts going, "Oh, damn, she's pretty fine looking."
Yeah. Yeah, I love Rebecca Ferguson. She is absolutely killing it over on Silo. Angela E says every town needs a bad boy, or the town will be boring. So yeah, I mean, having that wild card character, it does bring a nice, interesting aspect to the show. Like you said, it's that one wild card character where you never know what he's capable of. So in
Right.
that regard, maybe Randall staying the same won't be too bad. Maybe he shouldn't get too much of a redemption arc, but I could see
Well,
both happening.
I think what you're going to see is I think that's going to become Jim, because with Tabitha gone, he's going to be frantic, and you're going to see a direct opposite of how Tabitha reacted to when Jim was hurt. She was compassionate, and they came back together. I think Jim's going to be the opposite. He's going to become frantic and unreliable.
Oh yeah,
He's
could
got to
be.
find. He's got to do this. He's got to fix it. Right. That's what he always does. He fixes things. You
Yep.
can't fix something when you don't know where she went.
He hasn't fixed anything yet. He's like the most useless character. I can't stand Jim.
I like Jim. I think Jim's going to have an important part to play at some point. I think at some point Jim is going to at least start to investigate that voice a little bit more, and hopefully he'll get somewhere. But yeah, I know there's definitely a lot of hate for Jim. Not everybody likes Jim. I have
think
hope for Jim
Tabitha is
personally.
thanking her lucky stars that she's away from him finally.
Because Scarlet Fever says Randall may change now after what happened to him. Definitely a possibility for sure. He's definitely going to become a deputy, and I personally could love seeing that. I wouldn't mind seeing that arc if you see Randall kind of getting that redemption arc, maybe becoming a reliable deputy in the town. I could totally see that happening, and I wouldn't be mad at that.
Okay.
Or Randall is the one that goes to look for Tabitha. Now, there's interesting. That's an interesting
Okay.
possibility. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, so it's
I hope
very much the Daryl from Walking Dead kind of vibes with
very
with
Sawyer-esque. I get
Okay.
Sawyer vibes from Randall a lot from Lost, because that's kind of how Sawyer was in season 1, and then he turns into one of the most reliable characters on the show by the time you get to season 3.
What was it that changed him? Was there something specific?
Not really. It's just he kind of always had it in him. Sawyer from the beginning, he kind of acts out just because he wants to kind of be the quote unquote bad boy. He wants to be the outsider, but there was always this small part of him that kind of wanted to belong. And eventually he kind of just lets that part win out. And I do think a big part of it is Kate's character. Kate really kind of gets through to him, Evangeline Lilly's character. And I think that's a big part of bringing Sawyer's humanity out. And maybe that'll be what is needed with Randall's character. Maybe Randall will need another character to kind of relate to bring that side out of him a little bit more. Who knows? I hope they make Randall push the scale, but this time tactically. Okay. I'm expecting the ballerina to show up soon in a car, says Woodrow. That'd be pretty interesting.
Oh my God.
I think Randall won't even remember what happened. Now, there's an interesting thing. How much will Randall, Mari, and Julie even remember from what happened to them? Will it just be like one big blank haze, like they were kind of in a coma the whole time? Will they remember being trapped and chained up in that kind of dream world dungeon area? I get the sense they probably won't remember it, but who knows? Let's see. I love Randall. Also, I love season 2 more. We got to learn about the place much more. And that was the thing about season 2. Season 1 was definitely very much confined to the town only. I know towards the end we saw Boyd and Sarah venture out into the woods. But season 2 was very much a world building season in a lot of cases, where they started to open up the world a little bit more. We started to see the other possibilities of other places that this story could potentially go. So in terms of world building, I really like what season 2 did so far, for sure. He's got the face for it and everything. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Randall is not backing. Is not going to back down. Yeah, maybe Randall will wake up and just be the same old Randall. That is definitely a possibility for sure. Randall will make more trouble and be the same, says Jerry. That's definitely a possibility as well. Let's see what else everybody. Or Randall freaks out and gets killed. Yeah, that definitely seems to be the three kind of going theories at this point, that he's either going to have some sort of redemption arc, he'll just be the same old Randall, or he's going to get killed. Those seem to be the three ideas I'm seeing the most. We got a good morning from Ion. What is up? Good morning to you as well, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody all across the world, wherever you are tuning in from. We are so happy to have you guys here hanging out and talking some From with us. Super awesome to see how much that this show has really spread across the globe. I love it, absolutely love it. I think he will start dating Jade, says Star. Who knows? Anything is possible in Fromville, I guess. I have faith in Randall, says Jesse. Is the ballerina not just the woman on the music box? That's what I thought. I don't know. I mean, the one ballerina that Boyd saw, I just took it as that was, yeah, an interpretation of the one in the music box. I don't think it's an actual person that we'll see at any point. But, you know, you never know with this show, I guess. Anything is possible. Jen likes Randall as well. Okay, no problem with that. That is no problem with that. Randall is there for character build up. In my opinion, he was a dumbass so far. It's only upwards from here on out, in my opinion. And I mean, that's kind of the logical trajectory you would expect a character like Randall to take. Starts off like that hard-nosed kind of wild card character who thinks he knows it all but really doesn't know a damn thing about the situation that he's in. Then he finally gets a real glimpse of the danger that he is really in. And yeah, usually something like that will smarten a character up, and you will see a little redemption arc form after that. You know, traditionally anyway, but I mean, this show definitely tends to break some tropes every once in a while. So who knows? Maybe we could expect some big redemption arc to be coming around, and boom, they just kill Randall off like Alda said. I could definitely see that being a possibility. If Randall is who he is, Randall will want answers. Yeah, Randall is definitely one of the characters who wanted answers. I mean, we saw at the end of season 2, he was very kind of gung-ho on thinking that this was an experiment, that Donna was in on it, that they were all in on it. So yeah, I have a feeling Randall could potentially want some answers in season 3 as well. Randall will get his shit together, hook Kenny up with Tilly, and carve up Jim and Donna for good measure. God bless Randall, says Nicole J. All things are possible. All things are possible. Randall will sacrifice himself and save Donna. And I think that could be a very fitting ending to his character. I think that would be a really good way to wrap the character of Randall up. Seeing as what he did to Donna at the end of season 2, him ultimately kind of sacrificing his life to save Donna would be a really good tie-up for the character in terms of just a neat kind of story arc. That would be pretty good. That would be pretty good. Randall's too impulsive. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It is very tough. We got a $2 super chat from Lieutenant Hughes. Thank you, Lieutenant Hughes. I appreciate that, good sir. And here's an interesting question. I want to know the panel's favorite character. Mine's Victor. Awesome. Very good pick as well. And definitely let us know in the comment section as well. What is your favorite character on From? Now, for me personally, I mean, I'm sure some of you already know my favorite character. I've mentioned it before, but my favorite character, hands down.
All right, ding dongs, it's almost go time. Anybody fucks this up, you spend a night in the box.
Jade.
Great pick.
Personal favorite character. Whoops, on mute there. Yeah, Jade is definitely my favorite character. I love what Jade is doing. I love the actor, David Alpay. He's just absolutely killing every scene that he is in. There's pretty much not any actor or actress on this cast that I don't like. I love Harold Perrineau. Boyd is probably my second favorite character. But yeah, for me, I love Jade. I love everything about Jade, his wit, his comedy, his timing, the humor, everything. You know, that dry sense of humor is very similar to the humor that I kind of grew up with my friends. Yeah, Jade for me is my favorite character for sure. What about you, Snug? Favorite character?
Same. Jade, same.
Nice.
For secondary characters, I like the bus driver.
Okay, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome pick. Yeah, if I'm gonna go with secondary, it's probably Boyd. But other than Boyd, I mean, I really like Victor too. I love what Scott McCord is doing as well. But what about you, Aldous?
Man, I'm a little I'm gonna make Snuggy pissed here. I like Jim. I like the character drift that he's gone
Me
through.
too. I like Jim.
I like his response to everything, that he always goes back to where his knowledge base is and that he's trying to fix things. Anybody that's married, you constantly deal with that, the butting heads in a relationship where all women want you to do is listen, but as a man you want to fix things. That the writers really incorporated that into the character, that he's always trying to adjust and resolve everything, that every problem that comes up. And as far as secondary characters go, man, I really like Ethan. I think the kid's really come into something here in the second season, and he didn't come across as the annoying brat that Ravener always liked to wish death upon. So,
okay, I like it. What about you, Ravener? Favorite character and secondary?
Clara. The
Clara.
iPad, no, the eye patch girl. No. For me, man, and when people have asked, which one would you be, which one do you like, man, I gotta go with Boyd, and I'm glad that everybody else picked somebody different. But man, Boyd is the one you aspire to, and of course, I mean, he's written that way. But the way Harold Perrineau portrays him is so. There's a lot of nonverbal, a lot of like facial expressions.
The dude can act with body language alone. I know, he just kills a scene with no dialogue.
Yeah, and I mean the weakest scene I thought, and I think other people thought it was like one of their favorite ones, was his. I just thought the when he was in the church and he's like yelling at God. We've seen that
great scene. That might be his best scene in season 2, just pure dialogue wise.
Okay, yeah. See, and I mean, I've seen the mad at God's monologue before, and I'm just like, get through this scene. So exactly. I mean, somebody else. I mean, like you said you loved it and thought it was the strongest one. For me, it was probably the weakest. But the thing is, that was like, I mean, if that was his weakest scene, that kind of tells how well Harold Perrineau is doing in this show. So
It paid off though, with the light and dark, that he gets the message as far in the wedding ceremony.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. He asked for that sign. He's like, I need, give me a sign. If you're real, tell me now. And next thing you know, he's at his son's wedding, and boom, he gets the light and dark reference, which gives him the idea which ultimately ends up finding Martin and the music box and everything. So you're right there. Wow. Yeah. He kind of did get the answer he was looking for at the end of the day.
I do agree that scene rubbed me the wrong way too.
Okay, no, that's cool.
I think just because we've seen it so many times in
so
many
it's overused. Yeah, it's kind of overused.
Yeah, the guy in the church kind of mad at God for letting all the bad stuff happen. It is a scene that we have seen in stuff before. I thought he added a pretty interesting spin on it, and I don't know. I thought it was a very strong dialogue scene for you see Boyd, this character of Boyd, who is usually very tough and strong and reserved, and in this moment he's kind of just breaking down for lack of a better term, and he's kind of really just like what more do I need to do? Like, give me some sort of sign that you're up there and you're not just screwing with us.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting, but it has been used a lot.
Totally not the mole. Donna just comes breezing right in
there. Yeah.
Crashes that scene.
Yeah. Donna just comes in. Yeah. Donna has a knack to show up in some weird places at just the right time. So that's pretty interesting.
Whenever she pops in, she stops whatever they were doing, no matter whether it's like Boyd individually, whether it's everybody in the clinic, all dealing with like Smiley and stuff. When Donna pops in, man, everything stops and it becomes, whatever her issue is. And I mean, it's usually, not necessarily nefarious, because she like when she popped in, when Sarah was looking for something to do and she had that basket of stitching for Sarah. I mean, it was a legit task that Donna was like carrying out. But when she pops in, then whatever they were talking about, it's no longer whatever they're talking about. It's
very the timing's very sus, to say the least, for sure. For sure. Woodrow likes Boyd the best. Tom the bartender for Angela E. I love Tom the bartender. Tom the bartender is probably in my top 5 favorite characters, or at least top 7 or so. I really like Tom. That's a very good character. Bruna is on the Jade train as well. Hell yes, Bruna, the Team Jade for life. That is right, Lieutenant Hughes. Jade. I love Jade's comedy. And I love the arc that he's on personally. I really think that he has one of the more interesting story arcs that he's going through. Fatima for Aditha Lee. Jen Hack says, death to man buns. Death to man buns, indeed. Star says Tabitha and Jade. Nice picks. We got Suzanne says Boyd. Sarah is the best. I know, yeah, Michael has a big crush on Sarah, and that is totally fine. Totally fine. Woodruff says Tom was a good one. Yeah, Tom was great. Tom was a really good character. I really hope we see some more of the bartender popping up, especially similar to scenes that we see the bartender popping up, just kind of talking to Jade. I hope we get some more of those scenes in season 3 where Tom kind of just pops up to Jade every once in a while and is talking to him. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, Lieutenant Hughes can't stand Jade. That is totally fine as well. Absolutely, totally fine. Aditha likes Fatima, tries to be optimistic no matter what, and that's very true. I mean, yeah, we see that a lot, especially in season 1, where she's really trying to be the optimistic one, the glass half full one in this nightmarish world for sure. Boyd is dumb listening to Martin LMAO. Yeah, Boyd definitely could. I have a feeling he would do a lot of things different if he could go back to that Martin encounter for sure. Jade and Boyd, can't pick one between the two, says Jesse. Awesome stuff. We got another one for Jade from Quan. Yes, hell yes. Aditha likes Tabitha, her inquisitive nature. This is true. She does have a very kind of Batman detective-esque mind to her, for sure. Jade is the big brain currently in Fromville, no doubt. That he kind of is. Jade, yeah, definitely. I like them all except Dale and the guy who shot Boyd. Yeah, screw Dale. Screw Dale, indeed. Jade is so sexy, says Lola Bear. Well, hey, if you like it, you like it. My favorite character is Snuggie, hands down, says Nicole J. Hell yes, I like it. I like it, yes. Black Diamond 9 says, I love Jim as well. Awesome, we got some more Jim fans. Yeah, I like Jim. I know a lot of people hate on Jim, but I like Jim. I think Jim has some stuff to offer, for sure. The Milkman is my favorite, LOL. and that's another thing. Definitely let us know in the chat and on the panel. Which is your favorite monster? I have a feeling we're probably going to see a lot of smileys, but what is your favorite monster that you have seen on the show so far? For me, of course, it.
Breaking up, roboting.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, for me, it's Smiley. Smiley's always been my favorite monster, but there are a lot of good ones on this show. The cowboy one, the cowboy-looking dude, the yoked mechanic that we see at the end of season 2. Of course, the little old lady, the first monster that we see. Let us know what your favorite monster is as well. And what about you guys on panel? Do you guys have a favorite monster out of the bunch that we have seen so far?
Oh, the chick from season what was it? The Colony House where she's
Jasmine.
Yeah.
Oh, Jasmine. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, she was awesome. She was freaking awesome.
Just that whole play up into that sequence where she was sweet and caring and empathetic and then just turns immediately. It was very, very well done.
Indeed. Yeah, it was a good scene.
Yeah, I like the Maytag repairman.
Oh yeah, the yoke mechanic guy there.
No, I think it looks like an ice cream man, but to me, it looks like the Maytag repairman.
Oh, the ice cream man. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there was another vote for the ice cream man. I think Doc Hayes likes the ice cream man as well. Okay, I like it. Let's see. Will Kenny get with the medic? I don't think so. Not anytime soon. I think Kenny has a long wait ahead of him. Suzanne likes Randall second. Jim blows, says Star. Boyd is Jerry's favorite. Jim sucks, says Nicole J. Let's see. I don't like it when Reggie and Paula were mean to Sarah. Yeah, I didn't like that either. I really didn't like that scene. I was definitely on Team Sarah for that scene. I'm like, why are you being such a bitch to this girl? So yeah, I'm with you there. Jim is a sweetheart and loves his family. Yeah, Jim's definitely a family man. There is no doubting that. I know there has. We're actually speculating as to what Jim's ultimate endgame could be. And a lot of people were of a similar mind that Jim's story on the show will probably end with him kind of sacrificing himself to save his family. I could totally see that being Jim's route.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's where Jim's route is ultimately heading. Him kind of just giving the ultimate sacrifice to save his family. I think the actor who plays Victor is a very good actor. It's such a difference between him and his character, and he makes you believe he's like Victor on the show. Yeah, the actor playing Victor, Scott McCord, absolutely phenomenal actor. There has been a lot of talk going around for Harold Perrineau, should be, and very much deservedly so, up for an Emmy for best, most outstanding actor. And I think Scott McCord should be right there in a best supporting role. If Scott McCord doesn't get nominated for a best supporting role Emmy, then he got robbed. I love hearing that there's already a lot of talk being thrown around for Howard Perrineau being recognized, but I think Scott McCord is just as deserving as for that supporting role Emmy, because he has just been phenomenal in season 2, just in pure performance, displaying this character of Victor, bringing this character of Victor to life. Especially, yes, like you said, Aditha, when you hear Scott, the actor behind Victor, when you hear him talk in interviews and stuff, it's totally 180. It's totally night and day from his character of Victor. It just points to the fact that what a good actor this guy is. So I'd love to see both of them get some good recognition when award season comes around.
Yeah, and that's and where he really stands out is like Victor is not like mentally like retarded. He's stuck in time. He's childlike, but he's not unable to learn anything. He just is kind of stuck at that age, which is really like for Scott McCord to portray him that way is really, I mean, it's tough. I mean, having him interact with Ethan as if they are the same age, but he wasn't, but not like developmentally delayed kind of. He's like socially delayed, but not like mentally unable to learn. Right. That kind of thing. And there's such a huge difference,
Yeah. And the actor and Scott McCord, he touches on this in some of the behind the scenes features where he didn't want to portray Victor and have any one sort of label put on him. He describes it as Victor's just Victor, and I love that that's what he's doing with this character. He's not portraying this character in terms of having any kind of one set mental disability or anything like that. Victor is just Victor. He's his own character. He's his own thing. And I love how Scott is playing it that way. He's not kind of putting Victor into any categories or anything like that. Victor is just Victor. And I love that he's bringing that out in the character. And I think he's doing a really good job. Because like you said, clearly he's got some, there's some PTSD and some, some other stuff going on there. But the way that he's kind of cultivated this character of Victor, it's been phenomenal. Whereas, you see the scenes between him and Ethan, and it really does come across of like two kind of 10, 11-year-old kids just talking with each other. He's done phenomenal so far, and he definitely deserves some recognition for his performance, because Scott McCord has been, he's been almost the heart and soul of the show up until now, for sure. Let's see what you guys are saying as well in the chat. Boyd is great. And of course, let us know who your favorite monster is as well. I think we see some down there. Let me scroll down a little bit, see what else we see. Boyd getting shot in the arm looks so believable too. It did, just the if you're talking about just the pure effects, it did look pretty good as well. That's the thing, the practical effects and the visual effects that has been on From up until this point have been pretty good, I would say, overall. So that's they get an A in that department. I liked on his pants, said Star. Hey, that is totally fine. That is totally fine. I actually don't really like Boyd that much. He annoys me a lot. Hey, that is totally cool. That is totally fine. You are definitely welcome to like or not like any of the characters. That is definitely okay. It wasn't the best, but not the worst, says Lauren. Yeah, absolutely. Jade is like Jeff Goldblum of the town. a little bit. Let's see. Bruce Lee says Jade, Boyd, Donna. I want to add Victor because the actor for sure, but as a character, he holds so much info back that it's a bit annoying as it should be. Yeah, obviously Victor has this wealth of information that he just is not sharing with everybody. You clearly know that this guy knows a lot about this town that he is not sharing. So I could definitely see that being a little annoying at times. You want some answers every once in a while. I definitely can understand that. Almost everybody on Earth questions God at some point in their life when things are going bad. Yeah, it's one of the most human things you can do, I guess, Susan. At the end of the day, you're absolutely right. I mean, I imagine almost just about everybody has been through some point in life where, yeah, you go through some sort of hardship or you're losing a family member, whatever the case may be, where, yeah, you question things, you question your beliefs, you question the nature of things, and yeah, I mean, it's the most natural human emotion one can have at the end of the day, and it's yeah, I thought Boyd kind of portrayed it pretty well. So yeah, it's definitely something probably all of us are familiar with at some point or another. Yeah. I thought Jim was Ant-Man. Yeah, that's the thing. Jim, he does look a little bit like Paul Rudd in some cases. You're absolutely right. The actor playing Jim, he looks a lot like Paul Rudd, especially if you see him with shorter hair. It's a little different with Jim's longer hair, but if you look at any of the pictures of the actor who plays Jim, Eon Bailey, if you look at him with shorter hair and some of the other roles he was in, he looks just like Paul Rudd. They could easily be brothers. So yeah, I'm with you there, Tony. I saw that for sure. For sure. Least favorite character, Donna and Julie. Oh, that's right. We did have another super chat that was, let me bring that up. Here it is. Least favorite character on the show. And yeah, definitely let us know in the chat who your least favorite character is. Least favorite character for Lieutenant Hughes is Jade, Sarah, and Kenny. I don't like. Ooh, interesting. Interesting indeed. Man, least favorite character. I don't think I have a least favorite character overall. I do have a least favorite character in season 2 overall, and I do think for me it was Kenny. There were just some certain points in season 2 where I was just not feeling what Kenny was doing. But other than that, I don't know if I have just one set least favorite character. I really love all of these characters, and I'm not just saying that. I genuinely do. If I had a character I didn't like, you guys know me, I would say it. But in terms of season 2 alone, Kenny was probably my least favorite. But what about you guys? Do you guys have a least favorite character or a least favorite plot line that is going on? Yeah. I know what Ravener is going to say.
No.
Ethan.
It was, yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna stand my ground on that, man. You watch since we're doing the season 1 rewatch, you guys can see. I mean, the shoulder shaking, whatever it was, seizure that he was having, that kind of stuff. His acting, and yes, he's a little kid. But that goes to show in the course of a year from turning 7 to 8 or 8 to 9 or whatever age the kid is, and being in the show, he's gotten so much better in season 2. And, it was like he was just like reciting the lines just out of like rote memory. And yes, I know it's got to be difficult for a little kid and stuff, but he was so bad and he's changed so much. So yeah, he's a definite improvement. Mine is Elgin. I'm like, he's just a blob. He's just like, what is this guy? They're trying to make him do something, but he isn't doing anything. He's just, I mean, he's not really tortured. He's having trouble like processing his dreams or whatever, but I'm just not feeling that character. I'm just like, what is the friggin' point of this guy? Do something, shit or get off the pot, Elgin.
Yeah.
What about you, Snug?
Jim.
Jim, least favorite. I should have known. That's right. Yeah, Snuggy hates Jim. I should have known that was coming. What about you, Aldous? Do you have one a least favorite character, or just a least favorite plot line that's going on?
Yeah, just in season 2, what they did with Sarah, it felt like such a miss. She just kind of floated. They really didn't bounce much off of her or use her as a linchpin as much as I thought they should have. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a bummer. I mean, kind of the same way that Ravener was talking about Elgin. It almost felt like they introduced Elgin and Elgin stole part of Sarah's plot line.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I think from this, I mean, season 2 is definitely less tightly written than season 1 was.
Yeah, I think
I'd
yeah,
agree
I
with
think
that.
so. I think so. I think that's I don't know if that's by design or that maybe was just a byproduct of them kind of doing a lot more world development in season 2, where they opened up the world a little bit more, so it seemed a little more disjointed at times. So I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Whereas season 1 was a little more kind of condensed, all right
Mhm.
into the town, and the storylines kind of kind of crossed over with each other a lot. Where here you had a lot of characters that were kind of spread out in different places for most of the time, and so I could see that. I could definitely see that. All right, let's see what the chat is saying as well. We had some suggestions, some favorite monsters. Smiley and Jasmine is Suzanne's favorite monster. We got Kevin was an idiot, says Star. Yeah, Kevin was not too smart at all. Favorite monster is hidden in the Donna pants. Absolutely horrifying, says Nicole J. Damn, I know who Nicole J's least favorite character is. That's for sure. You couldn't pay me no money to pull over and help an old couple stranded in the road in the middle of the night. Thanks to Granny at the window. Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm driving right by you. Hell yeah, I'm right there with you, Dante. I am right there with you. My favorite monster was Smiley. My favorite monster was Smiley. No one now that he's dead. One, now he is dead. Yeah, it's Smiley was my favorite monster for sure. I mean, of course, R.I.P. Smiley. He's gone now. We have seen the last of our good friend Smiley here, but yeah, he was definitely my favorite monster. Coming up to the series, and he definitely seemed to be the show's favorite monster as well. When before season 2 was even airing, just about all of the promotional material they were putting out had Boyd and Smiley's face on it. Smiley's face was on so much promotional material for this show. So yeah, he was definitely like the main monster, as it were, until he got killed off anyway. Yeah, absolutely. Victor, because he knows everything. Tabitha gives me Selma Hayek vibes. Okay, nice.
Oh yeah,
I
if you
wish.
like Salma, she was in the first episode of this new season of Black Mirror too, right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's
Hmm.
looking thick. She's not, I mean, never looking bad, but she's she's thick.
Okay, nice.
Is that good thick or bad thick?
It depends, man. It depends on how thick you like them. She's extra thick.
I wish they gave the girl that got killed in Colony House more screen time. I forgot her name. Yeah, if you're thinking about the girl that got killed in Colony House in
Trudy?
season 1, Trudy. Yeah, the weird girl there. Yeah, she was really quirky and weird, and yeah, she
Yeah.
almost seemed like she was going to have some sort of part to play in the future. But yeah, she got killed off really quick. Oh my God, I fell behind a little bit, Jeremy. You gave me a heart attack with Smiley. Sorry about that, Jesse. Sorry about that. You never know when the good old Smiley is going to pop up. He can pop up literally at any time. Sometimes I don't even know I'm doing it. It just happens. Smiley just pops up. I can't even help it. Can't wait to see how Tabitha's children react to her being gone. Yeah, I imagine it is not going to be pleasant. We saw how distraught Ethan was when Jim was in the RV and during episode 9. For the first time, we saw Ethan really kind of distraught and despondent, and even so much where he was even calling the Promonocle just a stupid story. And we never hear Ethan talk like that. And it was definitely very much in response to him being worried about his father. So I imagine it's going to be even worse now that he's worried about wherever his mother is. So yeah, I could definitely see Ethan acting out a lot more in season 3, similar to what we saw in that scene. How many monsters have we met? Shit, I have no clue. Individual monsters that we've met, I mean, there's been a lot. There's been quite a few. I have no clue as to an actual number of how many different monsters we've seen, but at least 20 or so. Because I remember at one point when we found out that there were 12 talismans around, there was a theory going around that maybe there's only 12 different monsters, but we've seen far more than 12 different monsters. I've counted personally. I imagine we've seen at least around 20 or so different monsters at this point, between ones we've seen, in the background and kind of in front and center. But there's a good amount of them. There's definitely a good amount of them for sure. For sure. Martin is my favorite because he's a gifted rope thrower, says Brian. Yes, he is. He is a gifted rope thrower indeed. Scott McCord needs an Emmy. Absolutely, Doc Hayes. He really does. Like I said, I love that people are already talking about Harold Perrineau potentially being up for an Emmy, that he's getting that recognition already. But yeah, Scott McCord definitely needs to be in that category as well for Best Supporting. He's very deserving. The guy who plays as Victor should win an award too. Yeah, that's Scott McCord. 100% agree. He's just, that performance was second to none in season 2. He really, really brought that character Victor to life. It's been really, really impressive to see. Really impressive to see. Can't wait to see what Tabitha's children do once she is gone. I see Ethan definitely blaming Victor. Yeah, no, there's a good thing right there, Miss T. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, could this potentially create a rift between Ethan and Victor? We see that they are friends for the most part. We saw they had a little bit of a rift at some point in season 2 when Ethan doesn't stop Jade from going into Victor's room. You should have told him louder, Victor says. But yeah, I mean, could this potentially create some sort of rift between Ethan and Victor's friendship? What if Ethan blames Victor for what happened to his mother? Victor is the one who ultimately told her where the tree is, how to get to the tree, that it leads to the tower. So yeah, I could totally see Ethan holding some sort of resentment and maybe even blaming Victor for what happened. That's a possibility there, Miss T. Yeah, that's something we're gonna have to keep an eye out for sure. For sure. Yeah, he really is. Victor is so believable. It's one of the best performances I've seen for sure. The actor who plays the monster Jasmine, her father is John Dunsworth, who plays Jim Leahy on Trailer Park Boys. Oh no shit! I didn't even know that. Wow, that's interesting. I did not know that. Wow.
Man, one of before that was the show that put Nova Scotia on the map. I love Trailer Park Boys, and it was so. I mean, for something on such a zero budget, I mean, it was definitely of its time. But man, I love that show.
Yeah, I remember it being a very popular show. I never watched it myself, but I have tons of friends that were always talking, "Oh, you got to watch Trailer Park Boys. You got to watch Trailer Park Boys." One of these days, I'll probably give it a go. But yeah, it was definitely a pretty popular show. I remember it being talked about everywhere for sure.
And yeah, Lauren, Jim Leahy passed away. Or
John that's too bad.
Yeah, quite a few years back. Yeah, but man, yeah, what a great career. And I mean, really being, and I know for years, I don't know if they're still doing it, but for years, the rest of the Trailer Park Boys kind of like toured around doing like small time like shows and stuff, comedy shows and stuff. And yeah, man, so funny. But yeah, that was just, I mean. For talking about working on a zero budget, but yeah, John Dunsworth as Jim Leahy, you greasy bastard, here's to you. What a great dude.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna have to check it out at some point for sure. None of the monsters from season 1 returned for season 2 except Smiley. Hope more return for season 3. Well, actually, quite a few of them did return. The old lady returned from season 1 and season 2. We saw her in a few scenes. The monsters who actually do what they do to Kelly and Brian. We saw those monsters in season 1. We see the Milkman monster again in this point. The only new monsters that I saw in season 2 were some of the ones that we see in episode 6, like the cowboy monster was a new monster. The yoked mechanic was a new monster. The Donna's sister lookalike was a new monster. But other than that, most of the other monsters, we did see some of them in season 1 as well. They didn't really have prominent roles. Like Smiley was really the only recognizable one for the most part because he was the only one in the forefront. But if we look, the old lady was there in season 1 and season 2. The ones that did what they did to the ones that they did to Brian and Kelly, those monsters were in season 1 as well. The same monster that killed Brian and Kelly was the same monster that we see in the very first episode of season 1 when the monster is coming across the porch and it says to Julie, don't you recognize me? That's the same monster that ends up killing Kelly and Brian in season 2. So there are a few that we do see carry over from season 1 to season 2. Not many, but there are a few that carry over. And yeah, I really hope season 3 is very, very monster heavy. I do think the monsters took a little, like I said, they took a little bit of a backseat at the end of season 2, which I guess was understandable. They really wanted this kind of nightmare entity to become the kind of main big villain of the second season. So I understand why they focused on that a little bit more than the monsters. But I really don't want this show to ever come to a point where the monsters just aren't as big of a threat, or the monsters don't get a lot of screen time. I really hope we get a lot more monster action in season 3.
Yeah,
But
and
that's
season
my hope.
3, yeah, with season 3 and season 4, hopefully maybe even a season 5. This, honestly, I think they'll look back at season 2 and essentially call it the lost season, or the season where the shot rang out that they need to course correct, and that's the criticism. And this is only, we're only a couple weeks out of season 2 ending. After a year of it, before season 3 launches next year, they're going to hear, probably all the criticism they ever wanted and more. And that is I think it's going to spur them to.
You think it'll affect their season 3? You think it'll affect the way they plot it out?
God willing, I hope so. Honestly, I hope they do. And when the time comes for rewrites, they are going to have to punch it up, like as they say in the business, right? They're going to have to punch up season 3. I don't know how many episodes they had already finished, before everything shut down or whatever.
I doubt they finished any. I don't think they've even started filming 3.
Oh, I mean, like as far as writing the
scripts writing, yeah, no clue. No clue. That's the thing, and that's another thing. I really hope we can get season 2 at some point mid 2024, but we could potentially be waiting a little ways for season 3 of From at this rate, depending on how long. They did just recently come out, and the Actors Guild has officially announced that they will not be striking. They are not going on strike, because I know there was a potential there that the actors are going to be going on strike as well. They're not going on strike. That got settled up, so that's good. It's hard to tell. I'm really hoping we can get season 3 by mid 2024 or so, but it might be the end of 2024, the latest that we get season 2. I don't see it being much later than that, but hopefully they can get to work soon. And hopefully they have a good amount of it already written out. So maybe the rewrites, they can keep the rewrites to a minimum. Maybe they can get to filming really, really soon as this writer strike ends. And hopefully they can crank this season out. I mean, a season like From definitely it's a lot easier and it's a lot quicker to film a show like this than it is like a House of the Dragon type show. I mean, we're waiting 2 years in between new seasons for House of the Dragon, which is such a long wait. I definitely don't envision that happening here, just because the nature of the filming of From, they use a lot more practical effects. They don't rely anywhere near as much on CGI as a show like House of the Dragon does. So filming a show like From is going to wrap up much sooner and much quicker than a show like House of the Dragon. So hopefully, if they can get their ducks in a row and they can keep the rewrites and the reshoots to a minimum, maybe we can get season 3 of From hopefully somewhere in mid 2024. I'm hoping. Who knows? Maybe sooner if they get their ducks in a row. Who knows? Who knows? What's the point of Dale? Yeah, I have no clue what the point of Dale is, other than to kind of just seed some chaos every once in a while. Dale is a similar character to Randall in a way, where he's kind of one of those kind of weird wild card characters. And maybe he kind of potentially solved it all for us very early on in season 1 when he said, "This is a pocket dimension." Maybe he was right.
Yeah.
Maybe Dale was right.
Or something along that line. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely could see that being, a possibility here for sure. Now, this is an interesting question. It's definitely something that I have been wondering myself, and I really hope we get an answer to it at some point. We still don't know what was pushing around the tent that night Boyd and Sarah camped out. And I've been wondering that myself ever since it happened. What exactly was it that dragged Boyd and Sarah's tent? And were they trying to help them, or were they trying to harm them, is the question. Now, I have the feeling whatever this thing was that was dragging their tent, If it wanted to harm Boyd and Sarah, it easily could have killed them. The talisman had fallen down at that point. There was literally nothing protecting Boyd and Sarah at that point. Whatever was dragging that tent, if it wanted to kill them, it easily could have. The fact that it not only didn't kill them, but when they woke up, they found themselves incredibly close to the lighthouse. I get the feeling that whatever was dragging that tent maybe was trying to get them closer to the lighthouse as opposed to just dragging them deep into the forest randomly. Because as we saw, as soon as that tent stopped dragging, Boyd and Sarah were within distance of the lighthouse. They could hear the foghorn and they could see the light coming from the lighthouse. They were so close to it. So whatever was dragging the tent, maybe it was potentially trying to get them closer to the lighthouse. Maybe it was trying to help. Like I said, it easily could have killed them if it wanted to, I would imagine. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the chat as well. What do you guys think? What do you think was happening there with the whole tent scene and on the panel as well? I know the giant spider theory seems to be a very popular theory in this regard. But I have a feeling it maybe could have been the boy in white who was dragging the tent. We know it's not really a boy, whatever this entity is. Maybe the boy in white dragged them so it could get them closer to the lighthouse. Maybe, who knows? Anybody have any in particular thoughts on that?
No,
What was dragging the tent?
Yeah, we just assumed it was the spider because they started where they started and ended up
With
where
the
all
spider
the webs
webs,
were.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, beyond that, we really got nothing. And like you said, the tent was all ripped up, so whatever it was, the tent was no barrier to whatever it was that did the dragging.
They had no protection at that point. They could have easily been killed if whatever wanted to kill them killed them, I think.
Right.
Right.
It's tough. It's tough. But let's see what the chat is thinking. Or the giant spider that lives in the forest. Yeah, it could be. Could be. Boyd was pitching his own tent. That he was. Could have been a giant spider. That would be cool. Yeah, the giant spider definitely seems to be the most popular theory up until this point. I think it could be the boy in white, but who knows? Maybe it is the giant spider as well. It might have been a guardian of sorts. Maybe it was another entity that hasn't been really revealed to us yet. Maybe it was something else entirely that we just haven't seen on the show yet. That is definitely a possibility as well. Could it all be an experiment like Randall theorized? I think anything is possible at this point. I feel like there's so many theories out there as to what is going on here in Fromville, and really none of them have been just outright disproven up until this point. We don't have anywhere near enough information to really discredit any of the main theories that are going on out there, whether it's an experiment, simulation, a purgatory of sorts, or whatever the case may be. Most of the popular theories out there, none of them have really been disproven up until this point. So it really could be anything at this point. I tend to think they are in some other type of realm, pocket dimension type thing. I don't think they're on regular Earth. I think they are in some sort of other realm, so to speak. But I don't think it's a simulation. I certainly hope it's not a simulation anyway. If there's one theory I don't want to be true, it's the simulation theory. I just feel like it would really cheapen something this intriguing, something that is this intriguing with this many different assets to it, this many different stuff, all this different stuff going on. I would hate to see it be boiled down to all of this just being a simple computer program that's causing all this. I like that we're heading into seemingly a little bit more of a supernatural aspect of things. At least that's where I hope we're going. But yeah, as far as the main theories, who knows? It definitely could be a experiment like Randall and Jim were thinking. It definitely could be. Boyd and Sarah hear a strange horn and see the bright light before getting slug around. No, they hear the big horn in the light. They hear after the tent is dragged, not before it. Before the tent is dragged, they hear what sounds like something to be walking outside the tent. Then something physically hits the tent a few times, but the actual foghorn in the light we don't see until after the tent is dragged. I think that the spider was helping them to get to the lighthouse while the boy in white sabotaged them to get them there. Okay, now there's an interesting thought that maybe this spider entity was trying to get them closer to the lighthouse, but the boy in white specifically sent them into that tree to get them away from the lighthouse. Okay, okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I am picking up what you're putting down. Definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility. They were going through a wormhole. Definitely possible as well. What about Wolf? What about Wolf?
The dog.
The dog, shit, no clue. I mean, that's the thing with the dogs. They seem to be helping Boyd in some cases, but when we saw the dogs come close to Jim and Jim's family, the dogs seem to be kind of threatening towards Jim's family. Victor had to actually shoot his gun off to scare the dogs away so they wouldn't attack Jim and Ethan, it looked like. But then we see what seemed to be the same dog helping Boyd, not once but twice that we've seen. The dog helps lead Boyd to where he finds the talismans in season 1. And in season 2, it's the dog that leads Boyd back to town after he leaves Martin's structure. And then, of course, we see at the end of season 2, it looks like the dog is leading Boyd somewhere else right when the season ends. So I cannot wait to see where the dog is leading Boyd when season 3 starts. But yeah, what exactly is up with those dogs? Who knows? Who knows? Brian thinks the trees drag the tent. They move. Now, I mean, we have seen a lot of hints pointing to these trees physically moving, even to the point where Victor is measuring the distance in between the trees to see how much they moved. Now, do these trees just move a little bit at a time, or can these trees go full on Lord of the Rings and move shit? I get the sense that's a little fantastical for this show. I don't think the trees are moving that much, but it's possible, I suppose. Definitely possible. Definitely possible. Let's see. Lighthouses also use horns, so I assume that sound came from the lighthouse. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. The light that they see and the big foghorn that they hear definitely seems like both are coming from the lighthouse at the end of season 1. Yeah, for sure. But who knows? I mean, it's, who knows what the heck was going on here? What exactly was dragging the tent? Why did whatever was dragging the tent drag the tent? Were they trying to get them closer to the lighthouse? Were they trying to just throw them off track? It's really hard to tell, but I really hope at some point the show at least answers what dragged the tent. Everybody has been wondering what was dragging that tent ever since we saw it, and we didn't even see season 2 even touch on anything even remotely close to that. So at some point, I really hope we find out some of these answers. I really hope the show doesn't leave some of these things just ambiguous in perpetuity. Like the rope. I get the feeling we might never find out how that rope got down there. I wouldn't be too surprised if we never get an answer to that. But we should at least get an answer as to what was dragging this tent. That's a big enough plot point that they should at least answer at some point what was dragging the tent. And hopefully they will. Hopefully they will. But yeah, I don't know. There's so much stuff going on for season 3. Like I said, the amount of mystery and the amount of stuff they have set up at the end of season 2 has given us so much stuff to kind of chew on while we wait for season 3 to come around. So we will be continuing to do season 3 prediction streams throughout the off season while we wait. And of course, this Saturday we are going to be doing episode 2 of the season 1 live rewatch party. Episode 1 was a ton of fun, and a big thank you to everybody who came out for episode 1. I hope all of you return for episode 2. This Saturday we will be going live at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we usually give it around half hour, 45 minutes or so for people to kind of pile in before we start the actual watch party, where we all sync up our devices and we all hit play at the exact same time, and we will watch the episode and react to it live, and we will discuss it afterwards. And I'm really looking forward to episode 2 in particular, because this is the episode where Ethan first wakes up and he recounts the vivid dream that he had about the Lake of Tears and the spider and the drawings and everything else that he saw when he was unconscious. So I'm really looking forward to dissecting that part of episode 2 and everything else that comes along with episode 2. Like I said, season 1 of From was so special in so many ways. It was almost perfect from start to finish, and as good as a TV show can possibly get. So I'm really looking forward to the season 1 rewatch party. Like I said, this Saturday we will be going live 10 p.m. Eastern for episode 2. I hope you guys come back and join us. I am really, really looking forward to it. And what is up, Dana Marie? It is good to see you in the chat. I can't wait to watch the next episode with you guys and pick it apart together. Me too. I cannot freaking wait. I am really looking forward to it. I've been really looking forward to episode 2 ever since we announced that we were going to be doing another rewatch party. I've really been looking forward to episode 2 just as much, if not more, than any other episode, simply for the fact that I really want to go back and dissect this dream that Ethan has. I have a feeling there's a lot of information there that we could probably pick up on, especially now that we have a little bit more pieces of the puzzle, now that we have seen season 2 in its entirety. Once you get more seasons of a show like this, it's always good to go back to earlier seasons, because you're going to pick up on some stuff that you just didn't have context for the first go around. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can pick up there on that dream and whatever else we pick up on the episode. But yeah, season 1, episode 2, going live 10 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. I hope you guys come back and join us. And of course, we will probably be going live again on Thursday night for another episode of the Fromville Hour, where we will dive into some more season 3 predictions and see if we can suss out what exactly happened in season 2 as well. But we are going to get ready to close it down now. We've been going for around 3 hours. I really want to give a big thank you to everybody for coming out and joining us. These streams have been so fun. And like I said, as long as you guys are enjoying, Talking From and maybe some other shows down the road, we will continue to have these streams. It's been an absolute blast hanging out with everybody week in and week out. So I'm really looking forward to continuing the discussion. But again, big thank you goes out to everybody in the chat. I can't thank each and every one of you enough. And of course, a big thank you to my co-host, my awesome panel who joins me week in and week out as well. You guys, I couldn't, have better co-hosts to do the show with. You guys have been freaking phenomenal.
Dude, glad to do it. Glad to do
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. But yes, we are going to close it down now. But again, big thank you to everybody. Definitely come and hang out this Thursday. We will be doing another season 3 prediction live stream, and I'm going to try and get some special guests on for that one. And of course, this Saturday we will be going live for episode 2 of the season 1 rewatch party, and I am really, really looking forward to that. It should be a ton of fun. And hopefully you guys come and join us, and we can watch season 1 together and see if we can solve some of the mysteries that is From together as a whole. And I feel like that's what we have been doing so far up until this point. It seems like we're together collectively. We're trying to solve this mystery together, and it has been an absolute blast. I really can't thank all of you enough. And of course, we will definitely get into some other shows while we wait for season 3 to come around. Of course, we have a little bit of a ways to wait for season 3 to come around. So definitely leave your thoughts and suggestions for other shows that you would like to see us cover in the comment section after the stream ends, in the actual comment section below after it ends. Definitely leave some suggestions for some shows down there, and if we see the same show suggested multiple times, we will definitely dive into that. I know a lot of people wanted to talk some Silo. We're definitely going to be covering some Yellow Jacket stuff at some point. Yellow Jackets was a really great show that you guys introduced me to that I really enjoyed. So we're definitely going to be diving into some of that stuff as well. And of course, I will always be covering all things Song of Ice and Fire and House of the Dragon as well. But yeah, leave all of your thoughts and predictions for season 3 in the comment section below. And if you have any suggestions for other shows that you want to see us cover and that you want to that we can just discuss as a whole together, definitely leave those down in the comment section as well. And as always, biggest thank you goes out to the panel and to the chat. You guys are so freaking awesome. I am looking forward to going live this Thursday, and we will hang out and talk some more season 3. And then, of course, we have the watch party on Saturday. And, of course, be on the lookout. I have a video coming out. I'm going to try and get it out tomorrow. If it won't be out tomorrow, it will be out Thursday morning, the latest. I am working on an in-depth video as to what I think is going on with Martin, Boyd, and the entity. It's a really fun video that I have been having a blast making so far. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and leave your thoughts and questions below in that video once it does premiere. Like I said, I'm going to try and get it out tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, it will be out Thursday morning, the latest. But again, biggest thank you to all of you. We will see all of you guys on the rewatch party this Saturday. And as always, keep those tinfoil hats on, folks.